Ryan, you have no reason to like Ohio State. You have zero family from there. You've never been to fucking Cleveland.
Hey, I'm Michael. I know nothing about anything, and I'm just gonna make shit up out of my fucking ass and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Nice to meet you.
Same reason why he's a Yankees
Nice
fan.
to meet you.
Same reason why he's a
Where's my family from?
Trailblazers fan.
Where's my family
same
from?
reason. I mean, you're
Where's my
literally
family
all
from?
over the fucking country.
Hey.
Good evening, degenerates. Welcome back to another episode of Degen Hours. Maybe you can tell by the sweatshirt I'm wearing, but we're talking college football today. We haven't talked college football since the national championship game. After our recap of that, we were in Vegas for it. It was electric. Congrats to Michigan. Said no one. Michigan.
Michigan.
Last week we talked NFL draft. We're talking all the college players going into the draft. And we hadn't really covered any of the offseason moves in college.
There's been
a lot.
Is that what
Coaching changes, transfer portals, new conferences, 12-team playoff. We haven't talked any of it.
Nope.
And that's what we're gonna do today.
Oh yeah.
So
Right now.
lock in our favorite thing to talk about, or one of our favorite things to talk about: college football and projections. So first offseason college football episode. Let's go.
Woo!
As I mentioned, there's been a whole lot of moves in the offseason in college football.
That way.
A lot of transfer portal, a lot of teams kind of switching up their roster, new quarterbacks stepping in. But I want to start with the coaches because we had one of the biggest, or probably the biggest college football announcement in the last forever, is that the GOAT, Nick Saban, has retired from football. No longer the coach at Alabama. Undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best college coach of all time. He put them on a dynasty,
up there,
type run that I had never seen before. Alabama now is they're tough. What's going on?
Ryan's just looking at me. He goes like this. Definitely up there.
Who would you have as the GOAT of college football if it's not Saban?
I mean, listen, there's a lot of guys that they're like, I never watched Bear Bryant, but they say, he's up there. Nick Saban could be up there. I mean, if you want to talk one season, Coach O.
Okay. All right. We're not talking one season.
That should be a strike.
Coach O.
I'm just kidding. I gave him a small tip,
Just a small
Tip of the
tip.
cap.
Just the cap.
Just a small tip.
have
You
to.
just gave him a tip.
Saban's the GOAT.
Just the tip.
Bear
Just the
Bryant,
Hold
also an Alabama coach.
Yeah.
No,
they've had a good.
They moved
I think
different over
Alabama,
there.
they
Good
definitely
stretch
moved different.
of,
But in my opinion, Saban's the GOAT, so he's gone.
He's
Yeah,
the
bye-bye.
GOAT.
Alabama was already starting to kind of fall off the wagon a little compared to Georgia.
Yeah.
That's so
In
funny.
the SEC.
And he said,
I mean, they were still great. They made the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so funny.
they won the SEC
fall off the
championship.
wagon. Yeah, they made
But no, well, I mean, compared to what they were doing, right?
Yeah,
They hadn't won it. Georgia's won 2 championships since Bama's won 1.
Yeah.
Like in the last 4 years. So, Alabama went ahead and replaced Saban with the Washington head coach Ken DeBoer. An interesting hire, in my opinion.
Terrible.
And they also initially brought on the OC from Washington, but he lasted less than a couple weeks and recently accepted the OC job at Seattle.
Best thing that ever happened.
So now they're without an OC, and their head coach is the new head coach, or was the old head coach at Washington who took them to the Natty. Quick first reactions on this from you guys. I think it's a little bit of a stretch. I think they should have gone with a more like SEC Southern coach, or even I know they like to bring in those old NFL head coaches like the Bill O'Briens of the world. They had them as their OC or like stuff like that. I'm surprised they didn't grab from a Southern school or the NFL. They just went to as far West Coast you get with Washington. What was your guys' reaction to that?
It was terrible. I hate it so much. As the first year, he did something like really good in the program.
Yeah.
And it's just too quick. I hate it.
It was really quick.
It was just
It was
too
immediate.
quick.
It was like within a
was
week.
really.
I don't know.
like
I wonder if they knew he was retiring.
I don't know.
No matter what. Like,
do you think Saban had
regardless.
anything to say about it?
I'm sure they actually. I'm sure they talked to him about it.
It's Saban. It's like you don't not say anything.
well,
He probably still kind of has his hands all over the show. But I know, didn't he sign on to be an announcer?
Yeah.
Or like on the game day
for
crew
the
or whatever.
college game
It's
day.
college game
Yeah,
day,
college
right? He's
game
on the
day,
college game day set
wow.
for
He's
next
gonna
year.
be awesome on there, by
Yeah,
the way.
he's gonna be
That's
really
gonna be
cool.
so
He'll be
fun to
electric.
listen to.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't like it.
But like Mario, I know you're an SEC guy. How do you think this fits for Bama? And do you think they'll still have the same recruiting poll because it's Bama, even though it's like the new coach from the West Coast?
So I do think they'll still have the same recruiting pool just because it's Alabama. Like in the last 10 years, like, I mean, if you name the best college football team last 10 years, like everyone's like, yeah, Alabama.
It's Bama,
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
It was surprising, but the more I thought about it, you guys kind of alluded to it. Like, oh, did Saban have any input? Like, I'm sure they're like probably asked Saban, like, hey, we're thinking about a few of these guys.
Who do you
And
think?
if he probably gave the okay on like one or two people. So if Saban has respect for this guy, I think that says a lot. It was definitely surprising because, like you said, these SEC schools like to go with like just like a more southern kind of guy.
Yeah.
So
Because there was that, I don't want to say backlash, but there was that shock when your team LSU went with Brian Kelly, who's from like Connecticut or whatever up north. So
it's definitely interesting, but the more I thought about it, it's not that surprising. We're seeing this just not even in college football, but like NFL as well, like all across the board. The trend just seems to be these younger offensive-minded coaches. I mean, you see that. I mean, every new head coach now in the NFL seems to be like this like offensive mastermind guru,
Sean
whatever.
McVay.
Matt LaFleur,
Kingsbury,
McDaniel in Miami. So it kind of, when I saw the bigger picture, I was like, oh, this makes sense. And you get that guy who's getting 5-star talent. I mean, you saw when he had like Odunze and Michael Penix and what he was able to do. So like you give him like a defense and maybe like some more offensive weapons. I mean, it could be good. So
part of me also, at least in the short term, I think they're probably looking at Milroe at the quarterback position, saying, let's see if this guy can do what he did with Penix with Milroe. Because he's had like, not saying they're the same type of quarterback, but Milroe's the ultra athletic, a lot more running, but his ball is the deep ball.
Yeah.
Like we've said it all season, where Milroe's not the guy to go throw across the middle.
Yeah.
He screens and those deep balls, and he has a really good deep
he's a
ball.
college quarterback.
And so, and we've seen like the Washington offense, the Washington style.
Push the ball
It was
down the field.
push the ball, spread offense, and take shots.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that at least went. I know you don't get a coach just for the 1 year because Miller's only gonna be there for one more year.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that had something to do with it as well. They're like this. I think this will fit with the
It
quarterback.
could have.
It definitely could have.
I think it's either the most short-sighted, terrible decision, or they're playing like a really long game that they're kind of like hopeful will play out. The reason
He's a young guy. Yeah.
who Kevin DeBoer.
Yeah. Ken DeBoer, the coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know for long term, possibly they're just like, all right, we're gonna kind of shape everything around this guy, kind of grab players based off like how he schemes things. Because right now they lost so many people in the transfer portal,
we're
it's
gonna talk about that in a
unbelievable.
bit, but
They're
they go.
so like, I guess slim is the best way to put it. Like in terms of skilled players that they have on their roster, and then, I mean, I don't know. Short term, like I said, I think it's a terrible decision because it's like Ken DeBoer was really successful. And I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact that he was playing Pac-12 defenses. And when you go into the SEC, notably like popular because of how tough their defense is, along with the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, especially watching the national championship and how fast not how fast, but like how badly he got shut down by Michigan. Like I still hold the belief that they were very one-dimensional. Like they can only do a couple things on offense. And so, yeah, I just think this is going to turn out either terribly, or it's only going to be good 5 years down the line. And somehow they have to pray they have the same like recruiting.
So no short-term success.
No, none. There's none. I see it.
I think also, I don't think they're as committed to him as they were to other coaches.
Yeah.
Like you've seen the Alabamas of the world and like the Georgias, like even Clemson with Dabo. Like when they get a coach that's successful, they have the same coach forever that you forget. In the short term, you're allowed to cycle through. I totally think this is one of those. They're like, he had short-term success. Give him a couple years. If they're not, I totally wholeheartedly believe if they don't make the playoffs next year, they win 8-9 games. Like
He's out in a year.
hot seat at least, because I mean Bama doesn't. They're gonna have
Small
the
margin
talent,
there.
and I mean there's no exception.
That's almost unacceptable for Alabama.
That's what I'm
to
saying.
miss
There's
the
no
playoffs.
exception for that.
But you have to look at it by the
playoff?
scenario
It's
that they're in.
Dude,
the
totally.
scenario that they're in is that they have not the same roster strength that they
But they're
usually
gonna have.
have.
still
They
have
have.
4 or
They're
5
having their
stars.
5
Yeah,
stars.
still 4 or 5
It's still
Strength
Bama,
is better
and
than
it's the same
Washington
thing.
has ever been.
And it's kind of. It's not the exact same thing as Clemson, obviously. But I'm telling you, I mean, Clemson hadn't had below a 10-win season in a decade, right? Dabo has been the coach forever. Clemson all of a sudden was locked into not a 10-win season. The entire fan base pretty much was calling for him to get fired.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you go from Bama with Saban and like, oh, this is our new guy, he doesn't do well, there's no patience.
Yeah,
They're not going to
there's
go
no-
and send him out. No, time to go.
I mean, especially a 12-team playoff. If they don't make
Yeah.
the playoffs,
totally.
he's probably out.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about the playoffs in a sec. A couple other coaching moves. Jim Harbaugh leaving on top with Michigan. They won the Natty. He said, "See you later, Michigan.
Smart.
We're heading to the West Coast." Chargers head coach, replaced by their OC from last year, Sharon Moore. Ryan, you're kind of more locked into the Michigan Ohio State Big Ten thing. Do you think Michigan, after last year with their players leaving, now their coach leaving, are they going to take a huge step back because of this, or do you think the OC from last year can kind of step in and do a good enough job to keep Michigan in that top of the conference?
No, he was fine with like the 3 or 4 games where Harbaugh was out.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were against ranked teams, including
Yeah, I
Ohio
forgot
State.
he had head coaching experience
Yeah,
last year.
so I don't think they'll be fine. And the whole Michigan, it's like the Bama thing. They're getting 5 stars. Their backups are better than most people's starters.
Yeah.
I'm not worried at all. They're going to be fine. It's still going to be a sweat to play them every single, whoever, you guys play them, we play them.
week 2.
So, like, it's still going to be hard. I think this is nothing. This is the smallest news of anything. Like,
Well, about
Harbaugh,
really-
I think it's an easy replacement. Harbaugh doesn't do anything flashy. He's just a stern coach that gets stuff done. Happened to win doing that last year. Didn't have to change anything, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's going to be good.
So it's like easy, like in your mind, he easily lives up to expectations of pretty much continuing the exact same success of Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, never having a playoff win until last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was also gonna say though, I mean, they are taking a step back as a team. A lot of their players left,
Yeah.
including
Yeah.
quarterback. So he's not necessarily inheriting the same team that
Yeah.
Harbaugh had. And then last head coaching thing, Dan Lanning became kind of famous last year from not just the Colorado game, but the way he had Oregon playing. He got his big contract extension with Oregon, so he'll be there for a while as they move into the
Sneaky
Big Ten.
team.
Yeah, sneaky team going forward. After your conference just collapsed.
Yeah. Pac-12 just.
You're Big
They
Ten
look
now too, right?
scary.
I am Big Ten now.
So
Yeah, welcome to
you're
the
gonna
club.
be facing Chip Kelly, by the way.
Gone.
It wasn't on my list, but you no longer have a Chip Kelly head coach.
No, we don't.
Good thing or bad thing?
Now, great thing. I mean, I think it was. I didn't know what we were gonna do. I tried to believe in Chip Kelly for the longest time. It looked like we were gonna have like those promising years.
First couple weeks, you're
Yeah,
looking good.
you're-
First
you're
couple
holding
weeks.
on.
No, I
tight.
mean with that last year with
That's a
DTR,
popular
that last year.
sentence
No,
when
no,
Chip
that
Kelly's
last
your head
year with
coach.
DTR was good. Like we saw the path, and I don't know, the Pac-12 they eat themselves up every year. Anyway, Chip Kelly's gone. That's fine. We have Deshaun Foster now, former UCLA Bruin, great player on staff already. So I'm actually really excited. I think he's gonna kind of have sort of a like, Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Raiders, it's gonna be something kind of like that. I'm really excited.
Welcome to the Big Ten.
So I mean, it's going to be really scary, especially after new coach now going into the Big Ten. It's
Yeah.
going to be an absolute bloodbath next year.
Oh, they're gonna get murdered.
No,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be rough.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
gonna
rough.
be.
Like,
It's gonna be a rough year.
Watch out, UCLA friends. It's going to be a rough ride for the next
Lock
year.
Yeah,
in.
maybe just
Yeah.
don't watch the
Lock
games.
in.
Yeah, maybe don't watch.
Yeah, maybe just
But
turn it out for a season.
now I want to move to some transfer portal talk.
Oh,
All right, so there are a couple teams in my mind that clearly won the transfer portal. And this is just my opinion. You look at the top transfers where they go. So I'm going to talk about these 3 teams first, and then I want to name off, and we can kind of just discuss each transfer, how successful we think they're going to be, and all that. But the transfer portal this year is crazy. This is the first full offseason we've had true NIL become the most maybe deciding or influential factor of the transfer portal. You're hearing stories from coaches talking about players calling them like, I got offered $2 million at this school. What can you do for me? Type thing. Not asking you to tour the campus. College football has completely changed.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
they did this for player empowerment and to try to help players be able to go to small schools if they could pay more. This has done the opposite.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah.
a
All the
complete
big
shit
schools
show.
get them all.
I think they're gonna have to change it in the near future. We
They
can
have
have
to. Yeah, they
we can have
They
a whole
have to.
conversation about NIL, after maybe. But
You need a cap.
Ohio State, Texas, and Oregon have absolutely dominated this. And if you look at the schools with the biggest donor budgets and stuff, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, all up there.
Yep.
All up
Yep.
there. Biggest alumni, booster clubs,
Yep.
historically football schools. All the players are going there. They're paying a shitload of money to get these guys. So I want to go through all the teams, like those 3 teams and who they got. We'll start with you. Start with Ohio State. And you can let me know how you're feeling about it. So they got the number 1 overall player in the transfer portal
Yes,
and
sir.
former Alabama safety Caleb Downs heading into his sophomore season.
Oh,
So
that's
he was a freshman
ridiculous.
last year. You have him for 2 years.
That's ridiculous.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
He's
That's
an
crazy.
absolute monster. New starting quarterback and
Will
senior
Howard.
quarterback Will Howard from Kansas State.
Take it.
So, Ole Miss running back Kudshawn Jenkins.
Ooh, that's scary.
Absolute monster.
Scary.
And Travion Henderson staying as well,
Yep,
right?
we got that.
So you got your two running backs,
Wow.
absolute beast. Yeah. And then lastly, Alabama QB commit Julian Sang flipped to Ohio State.
Another 5-star we'll take.
Yeah, so how are you feeling so far about how that looks?
Oh, I think we won by a mile. I think we're tier 1 in the transfer portal by like 100 miles, and it's not even close. That's not even a shot. I swear it's not even a shot. I just think we like are out of the people that were available. I think we dominated, and we have now backups for backups for backups.
Yeah.
And that's not even talking about the 5-star. We already got the
I was
number
saying
one.
the quarterback recruit is unbelievable.
Oh, it's
to have
absolute
Will
absurd.
Howard and then Julian Sang come in, and then what's his face is still committed.
Aaron
right?
Nolan.
Aaron Nolan
Yeah.
is still
Yeah.
committed.
The wide
Yeah.
receiver.
And we still have the number one player in the country of high school, Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver.
He's gonna be a freshman next
He's
year.
gonna be a freshman. So not only do we have all the 5 stars and the number 1 players, we won the transfer portal. I mean, great job. 10 out of 10. Nothing more I can ask for as a fan of a team. Absolute murder. I mean, I looked at the rankings as like a portal transfer rankings, and we have the most. It was like we had 4 in the top 25, and the only one we got rid of was Kyle McCord. It was 63.
Okay, maybe this
Fleming.
wasn't the portal, but you guys did add someone else too.
Who?
Chip Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
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 We don't. Hey! I'm banning something. We're not talking about Ohio State coaching on this.
No,
show.
we are.
Oh,
but no,
but him and
quickly.
Ryan Day.
The combination.
Yo, best friends.
No, I'm just saying the
No.
fourth quarter, end of game, big game
No.
scenario.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Oh,
gonna get in
dude.
the huddle. Ryan Day talking to Chip Kelly.
Wow, it's gonna be me there with the loaded gun, saying,
Strike!
"Do not run a
Strike!
quarterback draw."
Strike!
Quarterback
Nerf
draw.
gun.
No,
Nerf
it's a
gun.
real gun, and it's
No,
quarterback
okay, that's
draw.
a
Those
I tried to
Who's
save
your
him.
daddy?
I tried to save him.
And boom, 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 boom.
those
That's all I know.
those coaching huddles are gonna be electric. We need a mic'd up next season.
Yeah,
Can
we do.
Can we get a mic'd up?
We need
on
a
Ohio
hard
State
knock
coaches?
season for the
Hard knock
Ohio
season.
State
Oh,
coaches.
my
You
God.
know when the
Lit.
49ers players were mic'd up and in overtime they were
idea
like,
what the-
wait, if we score, they still get the ball back? Like, that's going to be like those fourth quarter.
We're
Like,
down by
shit.
7.
No, but-
quarterback draw. Quarterback draw.
Yeah, it's
quarterback
4th and
draw.
9. Chip Kelly's like, I think we run this.
Take a
With
knee.
Travion, right?
No, he's like, take
no,
a-
Will Howard. Sweet.
No, take a knee. Look at a field goal.
Yeah, no. But Ohio State did well. Michael, Texas. I mean, there are 2 players that absolutely stood out. So not only did you get Quinn Ewers to return, the rumors are.
I don't know if that's good.
That could
Arch,
hurt.
well, you made it to the playoffs for the first time ever, so obviously,
He's not doing
returning
bad.
quarterback. Yeah, it's fine. Arch Manning looks like he might stay.
That is what.
It's crazy to me.
That's the latest thing I heard
Yeah.
from a report, which was quoting Eli, who was talking about
Yeah.
Arch Manning wanting to stay there.
Yeah,
so
and it looks like
I'm gonna
Dumbest
take it
thing
from
I've
a
ever
family
seen.
member,
dude,
but
if Arch
I'm
Manning
gonna-
Doesn't play to his third year.
I was gonna say if the highest
I'll be
quarterback recruit
stoked.
of the class waits till his junior year, I mean,
the amount of development.
that's
oh my
pretty
God.
cool. I mean, you don't
That's
love
awesome.
to, you
No,
don't
it's
love to
awesome.
let a player wait that long to play, but I think that says something about his character and commitment. I don't know. I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to see happen because it's the opposite of the culture we see in college right now.
That's just
It's
such
just
a
what-
man.
if
That's
I-
such a Manning
But it's
characteristic,
just
though.
each
It's
side of
like
the spectrum. It's either going to be the dumbest thing of all time or the smartest thing of all time. No in between.
Yeah.
I,
Well, what
Either
that
you
last
didn't
game,
get, you
it's
didn't
hard
get to play a
do
snap
anything
until your
wrong.
third year,
facts.
Yeah.
and you might not play good the first 6 games. There's only 5 games left, and then you're like, oh wow.
yeah.
Like, people are talking about the
I
draft.
mean, we've already seen him get ball snaps, and he didn't. He played great. He
but that's in who gives a
got
f-
scoring,
That's end of the game.
scoring drives.
Yeah, but he's
Wow.
talking.
Great job.
He's
You're up
talking.
by 60.
He's talking to be a starter of a team.
Yeah,
No,
like,
I
you're-
completely
But
understand.
also,
I
I
also
mean-
don't think like
Well, he's
when
going
he
to
goes
beat
in.
Quinn out.
What I
so
would say-
we all know why he's staying.
Oh, he's not. Well, he's
I
not
don't
going to
know.
be Quinn.
I
I mean,
about
if
that.
they want the
I
best
don't know
quarterback to
about
play, Arch Manning will play.
Yeah.
But they
shot.
like Quinn because he hands off the
That's-
ball and throws the terrible receivers.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
All right,
can't really
well-
win.
That's
so.
crazy.
Well, speaking of receivers, Texas definitely upgraded, getting the #1 wide receiver
my
in the
God,
portal,
by a mile.
Isaiah
Isaiah
Bond,
Bond, yep.
from Bama to Texas.
Iron Bowl winner,
And
baby.
you got 5-star safety.
He was.
What?
The Iron.
He was the one who caught the game-winning pass in the
No,
Iron
no,
Bowl.
I know. Isaiah Bond.
Literally him.
Yeah, no, he's a
did it.
beast.
They got that
They
trophy
just don't
too.
like. They just don't like
Hey,
Texas, Mike. They
they
hate
got
us.
that Iron
Was
Bowl
the
trophy.
parade 2 days or 3 days after?
I'm saying that was a pretty amazing play that we talked about literally as a segment on the fucking podcast. So yeah, I feel like it should.
Hey,
it
big
gets to
game
be
in a bowl
mentioned.
game.
Yeah, I mean,
Big
No,
that's
not
moments.
a bowl game. It
No,
was
it's-
Isaiah Bond in the Auburn.
There was
Bama
no
game.
bowl
the Iron
game.
Bowl.
It
No,
wasn't
I-
a bowl
no,
game.
it was the Iron Bowl.
It
It was
was
the
just
Iron Bowl.
called.
No, Mike.
Whatever.
No, I know, Mike. That's what We're good. We're good.
It was a big
Isaiah
catch.
Bond.
It was a big catch
Number
that when I
one-
referenced it, you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
well,
big
he's
enough.
definitely gonna be your wide receiver one
I don't know
after
about that.
losing
This is why.
A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy.
Thank
And
God.
then
we
you
got-
also got 5-star safety Andrew Makuba from Clemson. It's
That's a
the most
steal.
most painful thing that
yeah.
we lost. We definitely lost quite a bit, but we'll talk about Clemson later. Texas getting 2 of the best players at their position and keeping a lot of guys. How are you feeling about your team?
And I feel great. We are also losing like a lot of players, especially like off our wide receiver core. So we're replacing them with like Matthew Golden. We got Silas Bolden. I know they rhyme.
Isaiah Bond.
Kind
Dude,
of funny.
Silas
Isaiah
Boland's
Bond, of
actually really
course.
good.
No, I know. And then obviously replacing
I was gonna ask what school we went to. But
Who?
go ahead, continue.
who? Silas Bolden, Oregon State.
It was a joke.
Okay, that's not funny.
It wasn't funny.
They don't always
Continue,
land.
Mike.
The
Continue,
jokes
Mike.
don't always
Stupidest thing
land.
I've ever heard. And another big
Mike,
name.
you don't know fucking football. Good, continue.
Right. All you do is interrupt me while I'm talking.
Oh! Holy shit! Someone interrupting someone while they're talking? Oh my god!
I mean,
I'm sorry, Mike.
I know,
My
I
bad.
know.
I give you the floor. I'm so
Haven't said
sorry.
that.
I can't take
No,
it.
I'm so sorry,
Ryan's
Mike.
always interrupting.
I'm sorry, Mike.
That is
I'm
You asked
sorry,
me
Mike.
about
No,
That is-
Tyler
that's
asked me
my
what
issue.
I think
gotta
about
look
my
in the
team,
mirror.
and I'm giving
gotta
what I
look-
think
gotta
about
look
my
in the
team.
mirror. I gotta go look in the mirror. I gotta look in the mirror.
Even in the
I
off
mean,
season,
That's in
these
my
guys. I mean, as soon as you mention Ohio State, that's in my bad.
Dude,
No,
I
no,
literally-
stop. That's
Like I said, I haven't done anything. I haven't said anything
Mike,
bad
give me a
about
second,
Ohio
give me a
State.
second.
I'm just saying facts.
I haven't said a single.
I'm not saying bad things. I'm just saying facts.
Mike,
Texas
Mike,
didn't do
Let me just
anything.
talk to the camera real quick. I need to say something. That's a my bad. That's a my bad. I didn't remember if you put the words Ohio State and then follow it with Texas.
I mean, it's
that
disrespectful to
This
Ohio
happens
State.
100% of the time. So that's a my
Disrespectful
bad.
to Ohio State.
I just don't understand. Like
What
this whole
happened
thing
last
started
playoffs,
because he
though?
doesn't think I know where our transfers are coming from, and he was
No.
like, "Oh yeah, it's a joke." And
No.
I was like, "I don't understand how that's funny."
It started because you decided to wake up one day and like Texas when you liked Penn State 5 seconds before it. And then
Oh,
called
so he's
yourself a
saying-
Texas fan.
Ryan, you have no reason to like Ohio State. You have zero family from there. You've never been to fucking Cleveland. Like,
Hey, I'm Michael. I know
fuck?
nothing about anything, and I'm just gonna make shit up out of my fucking ass and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Nice to meet you.
Same reason why he's a Yankees
Nice
fan.
to meet you.
Same reason why he's
Where's my
a
family from?
Trailblazers fan.
Where's my family
same
from?
reason. I mean,
Where's
they're
my
literally
family
all
from?
over the fucking country.
Hey,
Fan.
Yeah,
All right,
you're-
yeah,
big
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Strike two.
Big Mets fan for this
Strike
guy.
two.
yeah. Just
Right,
make
yeah,
up
yeah,
shit.
Strike
yeah.
two.
Make up shit.
Oh,
You learned
big,
college
oh yeah, you're gonna go
As-
Syracuse next,
As you can tell,
huh?
he
Oh,
learned about
Jesus
college football a year
Christ.
ago, so be careful with what you
Yeah,
hear.
he's a big NYU basketball guy too.
And-
That's-
All right.
did-
I was gonna ask you to continue about Texas, but I don't know if I could handle any
Don't
more of
want to be
this.
bored.
Yeah. They did pretty well, and then the last school that did really well in the transfer portal was Oregon. I think undoubtedly we can all agree they absolutely murdered
They
it.
got Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, they got
And
quarterback.
Dante Moore
Well,
from UCLA.
Well,
That's your boy.
Listen, baby. Listen to these tracks, baby.
Well, yeah.
Huge
That-
stat. No, huge.
That's a
big,
UCLA
big,
boy
big,
for the fucking
It's
team.
big. It's big. It's big.
Oh
It's
my
big,
God,
it's
this
big.
guy's literally just on tilt for no fucking reason.
It's big.
Jesus
It's big.
Christ.
Relax,
Mike's got him. Mike's
Mike,
He's
don't
under
inter-
his skin.
Mike, can you not interrupt Tyler when he was talking about who Oregon got? You interrupted him and yelled.
You literally
Dante
just
Moore.
start jumping up and down,
You
screaming.
interrupted him, and I wanted to make sure Tyler got it out.
Jesus Christ.
Just make sure you don't interrupt Tyler while he's trying to explain the
Oh my
players.
God, you're telling me about interrupting shit?
Do you want to go through the vlogs?
Jesus
Do you want to go
Lord.
through every intro ever made? Do
A vlog?
you want to go through everything we've ever made?
This guy doesn't even know what we're filming.
I'm the only one who films it. That's crazy.
Jesus Christ. Well, we're filming a podcast.
And you're still.
Whoa, that's definitely strike three.
That's definitely strike three.
all right, sorry about that. We need a little quick 30-second guy.
What happened?
It's
Shut.
That's on me, Mike. That's on me.
this has happened. I don't know
It's like
if
strike five.
yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen.
Jesus Christ, how do you guys kick me out, but you don't kick this?
I get 3 outs.
You
Well, we
stupid little-
stopped the entire podcast.
All right, all
Go
right.
ahead. Hey, you guys want to go?
Nope.
Go ahead.
No,
I am done. I said I'm sorry.
All right.
I've been the most peaceful fucking person on this entire show
All right, everyone
since
shut
the creation
Everyone
of it.
shut the fuck up. Let me fucking move on.
All right.
Tate,
all right,
me and Tate
all
and
right.
Tyler will leave. It was
Yeah,
just-
I
No,
mean,
I'm done.
holy
No,
crap.
I'm
If
done.
you want
I'm
some
done
views,
arguing.
I'll give you some views.
No
All
more
right.
arguing.
If you guys have watched earlier episodes during the college football season, this happened quite a few times. There was a time where we had
Even if the cameras are
a
off.
physical alteration. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this happens all the time. We hadn't taught college football in 2 months, so I completely forgot this would happen.
Just pent up.
Yeah, so this has been building up for 2
Yeah.
months, and now college football, Ohio State, Texas, this is a chance for them to get it out. Oregon
They just combust.
doing well. Hey, Tate, Oregon did well in the transfer portal.
Oregon
Didn't they?
did very well in the
they did very
transfer
They
portal.
got
did,
Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel leading the offense,
great,
Dan Lanning
acquisition.
at the helm. They got the top corner from Washington, Jabbar Muhammad.
Yep,
Yeah.
love that.
Very good. Like Mike said, backup quarterback, they got Dante Moore. I think he will leave before the season starts, in my opinion.
That was the dumbest. I don't know
know what he was doing there,
Going there.
But he's a 5-star regardless of how he played at UCLA. He was a 5-star, top of the class. I think was he a modern day guy? I think he was a modern day.
He's from was he modern day or was he from?
Oh,
Texas?
maybe he was.
think
I
he's
don't know.
from
Maybe
out
I'm
of state.
crazy.
He's out of state.
And then they also got wide receiver Evan Stewart from Texas A&M, which is big to pair with their returning wide receivers.
Yeah, I would love to go play for Dan Lanning right now.
I mean, yeah.
Ted Johnson is
Also,
That's what I'm saying. Ted
One-
Johnson,
He's a
Evan
great
Stewart.
coach.
One of the big guys you missed was Cam Alexander from UTSA. He's a 4-star as well.
Was it the running back?
No, he's a cornerback. He's going to pair with
Corner.
Muhammad on the opposite
UTSA
side.
went crazy.
No, they really did. But
Yeah.
he's going to go on the opposite side of Muhammad.
And then they got the 2 receivers and then pair with Dylan Gabriel. I mean, they're going to Oregon's going to be an interesting one because they are moving to a new conference, right?
Yeah,
New
yeah.
level of competition and all that.
They're gonna be ranked top 4.
I was going to say, how do you think they're going to do in the new conference coming from the Pac-12?
Yeah, I think they're going to be the juggernaut of the of the Pac-12 teams that are
Okay.
like of the Pac-12 teams that are going to different conferences. I mean, I know it's probably not that hot of a take, but it's going to be Oregon. I'm really interested to see how they're going to play against Big Ten teams consistently.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If I had to go play for anybody right now, especially since Saban's gone, and then Harbaugh's gone, I would love to play for Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the way he kind of had his boys
sick.
fired up. There was a couple times last year where we saw them in the locker room and Dan Lanning just had them strapped.
Well, yeah,
in
I
the
mean,
second
the
half.
Colorado
And they
game.
just came out and never
I
stopped.
feel like
he made a point.
I think
Plus-
the Colorado game
63
turned him
to
into a
fucking
superstar.
6.
Plus, not to mention playing in Oregon, dude. That place will rock.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. I think
They live
honestly,
for college football.
just as big of a disadvantage it is for those West Coast teams to go travel out,
100%.
to Ohio and Michigan in the winter when it's
yeah.
freezing.
Making
I
all
do
of them
think,
go
yeah,
over.
for the first time as well, you're gonna have to see these Big Ten schools that have only stayed, in their small
yeah.
batch of states up there, traveling out to the West Coast to go to some of these stadiums they've never played in before.
Yeah.
So it'll be a very interesting thing. Mario, do you share the same sentiment as Tate that Oregon's going to be like a pretty big juggernaut next year, especially with these guys they brought on?
I do. I think they made the right moves to kind of compete with the Big Ten schools.
Yeah.
I think Ohio State is just like right here right now, and everyone else is kind of just
I agree.
a significant, like a step below.
I agree.
I just love the moves they've made. I think you mentioned earlier about is Michigan going to be the same? I think Michigan's going to fall off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
So this will be the year that, honestly, it'll probably be between Oregon or Pac-12. I
Yeah.
don't know why I point at you. You're
Yeah,
UCLA fan.
UCLA guy.
But like
Be between
Oregon, Ohio
UCLA,
State,
yeah.
Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, probably the 3 schools you're looking at in the Big Ten that are
Texas
actually.
SEC.
We're SEC.
Oh, that's right. They moved.
Yep. Texas and Oklahoma were the 2 that went to the SEC, and then you had the Pac-10 or Pac-12 schools, Oregon,
Big
Washington.
12 and Big 10.
Big 12 and Big.
Who else joined the Big Ten?
Dude,
Oregon
along that
State, I
same
think.
thing.
Right?
No, it was
No,
so
Oregon State
Big
went to
10.
Big 12.
Did USC?
The Big
Oh,
Ten
that's what we're talking
added,
about.
yeah, UCLA,
Yeah.
USC. That was it. UCLA,
USC.
USC,
Okay.
Washington, Oregon were the 4 that joined the Big Ten.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like. You can't really say anything negative about the moves Oregon made. Dylan Gabriel's a great addition. I think he's
Yeah.
better than Bo
Yeah.
Nix. So I mean,
Ooh,
Wow, I don't know about that one.
I know about it.
wow. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I think
if Dylan Gabriel stays till the 7th
he'll be great
He'll
in
be
that.
better than Bo
He'll be
Nix.
great. He'll be great in that system for sure.
Yeah.
No, I do think he'll be
7-year
good.
veteran.
I do
they're
think those
sharp.
top 3 that Mario named are going to be the top 3 in the overall college football. Too.
Oregon, Ohio State, UCLA.
Oregon,
Nope.
Ohio State, and
Texas.
Texas.
Over
You think it'll be
Georgia?
Oregon,
top
Ohio
3?
State, and Texas.
Over Georgia.
Yeah.
What? Just clip
I
You
think
think
I would-
Texas
I-
over Georgia? You're smoking crack.
I mean,
Georgia's returning everybody.
I would put Georgia at 4. I put them just outside top 3.
I mean, they'll be the #1 team in the entire.
Holy crap.
Just just.
Dude,
It'll be Ohio
I-
State,
look,
Georgia.
look,
It'll be Ohio State, Georgia.
So you're saying in the SEC, Georgia is not the best team. It'll be Texas.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
Okay, well, I'm always gonna ride with my boys.
We're
I'm
gonna talk
never-
about this. We're talking
I'm
about
never
that.
not
We're
gonna-
talking about
Whoa.
after, but hold on. This just caught me off guard because currently, let me just read you real quick. We're gonna talk about this. Georgia's plus 350.
Yeah, I don't give a.
To
Georgia didn't
win
even
the-
make it to a playoffs last
No,
year.
no,
them.
It's 12-team playoff. They'll
Yeah,
be there.
stupid
To win the Natty. To win the Natty,
I
they're plus
understand.
350.
I understand.
That's an insane thing to say they're not even going to be number one in their conference.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that they win the SEC. Of course, I think Texas.
I mean,
is
if
gonna
Arch
win the
Manning
SEC.
plays, maybe he has a.
Say what you will. Say what you will.
No, I will say.
think-
I will exactly say what I will.
No, I
Win
know.
yours is terrible.
Yeah, whatever. I also very
Get the
strongly
word
feel
out.
that we're gonna be that we already have been top 3 for the transfers and the moves made. So obviously that bolsters and strengthens our team.
To keep you at
I mean, really, I think the 2 SEC teams in contention are going to be Texas and Georgia. And like I said, I'm never going to not think it's going to be my boys.
SEC talent.
When it comes to, I mean, pretty much everything else, I think the only 2 conferences to talk about are the Big Ten and the SEC. ACC, I don't really think has anyone. And then Big 12 is literally Arizona and fucking like
Yeah, the Big 12
like
got the
Oklahoma
the Big
State
12
or
got
something, like-
kneecapped big time.
Also-
yeah, no,
Big
they
12.
suck. But anyways,
They
yeah,
suck.
I mean-
ACC sucks. You know, no
It's-
teams.
Well, no,
really
By
good.
the way-
I just think especially
fair.
the transfer portal and the moves that were made with the NIL coming so big into play this year, like I think it's gonna be massive for the dynamics of these teams.
What were you gonna say?
the way too early rankings, the articles between like ESPN, USA Today, Yahoo Sports, you know, like
What do
just
they have?
all the reputable sources, every single one of them, it's almost unanimous. Georgia's number 1 overall.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
all
of course.
wrong.
I mean,
They're all wrong.
Also, that's
mean,
a take you can have. But all I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's clearly returning the best team, and they added ETN, which brings me into our next segment. So I want to go into the other notable players that move teams, and we can talk about how we think that fit what that player's going to be. We just talked to 3 teams that got all the players. These are some of the big name players that went to other schools. We already talked about Georgia, so let's go ahead and talk Trevor Etienne moving to Georgia, which I think is one of the biggest moves in the portal that really
Yeah.
no one's talking about.
Could be.
Because
From
Georgia,
FSU, right? Or
no, from Florida.
Florida.
Close. Yeah, from Florida. I mean, Florida got slapped with losing transfers, and their schedule next year looks like it's the hardest schedule ever created in the history of mankind. I think they're playing
9
nine
ranked.
ranked. Yeah, it's they're ridiculous.
Crazy.
I'll go ahead and start. I mean, I'm biased to the ETN name after what he did at Clemson. Trevor Etienne at Florida was a very good running back that you knew would be good. They had a couple running backs, but Georgia running backs move differently. They feed their running backs, and he has some explosive capabilities. You're never going to pick a running back to win the Heisman, but he's the number 1 non-quarterback in the Heisman preseason rankings is Trevor Etienne.
Makes sense.
And I think it's a huge move. Georgia only improved in my opinion, and I think this is a big piece in the big
Yeah, it'll be a big piece. Georgia always has them dogs at running backs. He's just a better dog for now.
Yeah.
We'll see how they use him next year. Like I said, we'll see how these teams pan out with all the new players and new schemes and all
Yeah.
these coaches moving around.
Yeah, but that was the big addition for Georgia. Now I'll just go player by player. Anyone feel free to hop in. Let me know what you think. Riley Leonard, obviously, he was projected at one point in the season last year, number 2 quarterback in the class. Like there were people saying, "Oh, this is going to be." I mean,
Some people just Mel
Irrelevant.
Kiper.
Yeah,
Well,
that
don't
dude
get
started
me,
shitting
don't get me
bad
wrong.
and-
I didn't necessarily agree with
Yeah,
him being the
yeah,
number 2
I-
quarterback, but he could have gone pro. He obviously had that brutal injury against what was it, Notre Dame last year?
Yep.
And where Sam Hartman waited outside the
very
tent.
end,
Yeah. And so he left Duke along with literally everyone else who played at Duke to go to Notre Dame. How do you guys feel, just gut instinct, on how that move's going to pan out? Does Riley Leonard do something there next year? Their schedule's kind of light because they play the ACC, a weakened ACC. Or do you think it'll just kind of be the same story, like he'll look like a Sam Hartman type player, but not really be that high in the draft class next year?
I only have one word. I'll get it out of the way. Just irrelevant. I don't need to say anything more. You guys can go.
Do you guys feel the same way?
I think it just depends on the schedule. If they play tough enough teams to where Notre Dame is losing 4 or 5 games, then I
It's
don't.
the ACC. That's it.
I'll
That's all I
pull-
need.
I'll
Wait,
pull up
So
Notre
they're
Dame's
like
schedule.
fully in the ACC now?
Well, they've
They've
always
always
played in the
an
ACC
schedule.
full schedule.
Yeah.
They're not a part of the
Oh.
ACC theoretically, but they play a full ACC schedule.
Oh,
So they
Oh,
play
got
the
it.
Duke, Miami's, Louisville's,
got it.
Florida State's,
Nothing.
maybe
Yeah,
Clemson.
just-
Nothing
yeah, do you-
crazy. Yeah.
All I'm saying is, do you think that'll be something? You know, do you think they will be able to
Could
kind
be
of
a play-
replicate the success, or
Could be a playoff team with the 12 teams entering the playoff if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Since they're playing such easy.
But I don't think it's anything to look too deeply into. Like as far as like any national championship aspirations, I don't really think those are really anything to believe in.
Yeah, and I
Sorry, Notre Dame fans. But
no, it's I get what you guys are saying, and I kind of am always preseason on the Notre Dame bandwagon. This is not me on the Notre Dame bandwagon. This is just me. I think Riley Leonard's very, very, very good. I really liked what I saw from him. The Duke is not a good football school.
No.
Dude, and we watched him like carry that team. He's really athletic. Hopefully his leg's fine.
Yeah.
From the injury. So like if he's obviously not back to where he was, then throw everything I'm saying out the window. But if he can somehow get back to the player he was that week 1 game against Clemson and the way he plays, I think this team can really make a run strictly because of the player. I'm going to read you off their schedule real quick.
Yeah.
They play
Yeah.
A&M,
Ridiculous.
then they play Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami, Ohio,
God.
Louisville, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, SC.
So they lose one game?
You think 4?
Yeah.
I only see like a couple. I mean, we'll do the full win
But
total
like,
thing,
but
but
like 4
Wait.
debatable ones.
Nah.
yeah, I mean that's. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
at
it's
A&M
4
week 1 is
debatable
probably gonna be pretty tough, but yeah,
A&M,
Yeah,
Georgia
at
Tech.
A&M.
Yeah.
you're Georgia
USC,
Tech, you're Georgia
Florida
Tech
State,
every year.
Florida
But no, I think
Navy.
I do think Riley Leonard, sneaky, if he can get something going, could make some moves at the draft board. I think he'd be a first-round quarterback next year. One of the biggest moves, which is kind of weird for me to say, DJ Uyunglele
Your
to
boy.
FSU.
Your boy.
He obviously
God.
played at Clemson for 2 years, backed up Trevor Lawrence, then came in, didn't really produce at the level we were hoping. Went to Oregon State last year.
Phenomenal.
Great season.
He had the same stats he had at Clemson, and actually had the team ranked right around where he had at Clemson, where they were in that like teens ranking.
That guy's,
Way worse.
that guy's bouncing around college football like a
so
beach
smart.
ball
smart.
at a
I mean,
Nickelback
yeah.
concert.
Very
dude.
smart.
FSU plays Clemson this year. DJ, you go
my
in there.
God.
Do you guys think he will be successful with this FSU team?
Avatar.
Same thing Ryan said.
Avatar.
Irrelevant.
Wow. Irrelevant? You think Avatar just vanished?
No. Like he's gonna be there. You're gonna hear about him. He's
Big
there.
games.
He's gonna keep Florida State right in that 10 to 15 ranked. And
So
then
not irrelevant.
and then the big games, Avatar. Every big game in DJ's career, Avatar. He vanishes. When you need him the most, he vanishes.
Yeah, I mean, they play a home
Watch the
game
world
against
burn.
Clemson. I think will be electric to see how that pans out.
No,
I
he's
mean,
not a big game player.
I don't know, but Florida State's schedule next year looks
Are there
pretty
any more
easy.
big games in the ACC?
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
That's a good point.
How do you feel
Clemson.
about DJ?
I think it's gonna be phenomenal at Florida State.
Ooh.
Only because I see a little JJ McCarthy at Michigan. Florida State still has a ton of. I know that people think they lost a lot of players. They have a lot of 5-stars they got on the offensive and defensive line, and they have a lot of players still on the roster. That defense still holds and does well. DJ does a little bit. He doesn't have to do a lot.
Losing,
Yeah, they might sneak
losing
into the
Benson
playoffs.
and Coleman though is kind of a big
I
hit
mean,
for.
A lot of people think Coleman didn't do anything. I think Coleman's great, and then Benson is just he's going in.
Benson was solid.
He's a
last
good
year.
running
He
back.
I'm
was
saying, like,
solid.
and
They'll
then
have-
with
they'll
how much
replace
NIL
him.
deals and how many 4-stars you can get, or
They'll
5-stars
replace
you
him.
can
Florida State will
replace.
still be a good team.
Yeah, they'll be
Mike
good.
Norvell
I
did a
think
great
so.
job.
I
They'll
think
be
if
good.
you just do the little like don't do a lot, TJ loses 1 or 2 games sneaking into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Wins a couple
definitely.
games?
I think
Yeah.
FSU will still be in the mix, but it's just kind of weird for me. I always feel very strongly about TJ. I've never seen anything
Yeah,
really
you'll never
spectacular about
like
him.
TJ.
Throws a tight
Hate
spiral.
him.
In my opinion, arguably the biggest quarterback move in the portal. And that doesn't really seem like that big of a move, but I am in love with this move. Cam Ward to Miami.
Ward.
He's from Washington State.
Yeah.
Really good start to the year when they started undefeated. He said he was going to the draft. Then all of a sudden said he's not coming to the draft. Transfers to Miami, a team that was a really interesting one last year with
Yeah.
Tyler Van Dyke. I mean, you saw Miami start the season undefeated, ranked, and then had that complete collapse where they didn't take a knee. And
Against
they ran
Georgia
it.
Tech.
Yeah, and then
Shout out Georgia
and then
Tech.
they just collapsed. But Miami can move the ball and they score some points. I am in love with this move, and I know we're gonna talk like early Heisman favorites and stuff, but I would not be surprised, especially with the strength of the ACC getting diminished over the last couple years, if Cam Ward can replicate the kind of offense he was doing at Washington State in the ACC with this Miami team. I think Miami and Cam Ward can both be in some serious national conversations next year.
I think it'll be tough. I think ACC is still like not that strong, but you still have your Florida States. You still have Clemson. You still, I mean, Florida. the way they scheduled their season looks like they're going to be strong. Otherwise, they're going to lose every game. But I mean, obviously
Louisville's always a tough one.
yeah, Louisville. So I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be very, very similar to how he was at Washington State. I do think he fits the school, though.
I think he fits it so
There's
well.
there's certain players, coaches, they just fit the identity of the school.
Yeah.
And he's one of those. He just seems like a Miami kind of quarterback. You know what I mean?
Totally does.
He's gonna fit in over there. I think they'll be okay,
Loves the
but
Cubans.
I don't know how.
Relevant they'll be.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, yeah. He's got to keep
Mike
going.
throws
with-
the stun.
You just got to keep going with Mike.
The phrases
toss
that
in
just
there,
like
yeah.
I just don't even know how to.
Yeah.
pronounce.
No.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think he fits their scheme really well and kind of like the way they play offense. And
He's gonna
so,
miss his wide receivers though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
totally.
was
Totally. But we'll see what happens.
They'll sneak in at 12.
A transfer that, this isn't the biggest name quarterback, but I had to put it on the list because he was an Ohio State guy. Comacord left to Syracuse. I mean,
Career over.
yeah, I don't know.
actually,
I don't know how do you feel about that?
Actually, side note, like a big thing that people need to know: Syracuse at one point was not only that had one of the best records in the country; they were undefeated. They had the best offense in the entire country, and they
They're
brought
scoring
back
a lot of points.
They brought back every single one of their players and just got rid of a shitty quarterback. So like, I'm not saying he's gonna do anything
I
great.
mean, the
but
one
I'm saying,
point was like a couple wins.
no, they're 6-0. I thought.
They were 5 or 6 now.
And then they were the number one offense through all those weeks. I mean, you don't
And
just
then
do that out of
they
luck.
talk about a collapse. I mean, them and Miami both.
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying,
then they
but, like,
played real
Yeah, and
teams.
then they had one of the most horrific offenses in the.
No, I'm saying, but like, I'm saying.
I think they went 4 or 5 straight games scoring under 10 points.
Yeah, they lost all
Like
of
it was.
No, I'm sure, but I'm
ridiculous.
saying like I think that they're gonna be better than people think. That's it.
So you think Kyle McCord potentially still relevant
Honda
at the national
McCord,
level?
No, he's still
Mid
Irrelevant.
But Syracuse is
He's
gonna
still
be
mid.
with it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that team.
Malik Murphy, your friend, your boy. You loved Malik Murphy.
Big Malik Murphy guy.
He moved to Duke to replace Riley Leonard in an offense that made Riley Leonard look pretty successful. Malik Murphy, obviously, high-rated recruit.
No, it's exactly what
Texas.
you said like 5 minutes ago. Duke is not a football school, and Malik Murphy is not a football player. So
Not a
Wow.
football player.
you know,
Wow.
I mean, the two things go
I
great.
mean, I think
Maybe-
reality would beg to differ, but-
hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
That was a bar. Go ahead, Mike.
I didn't even listen to what you said.
I know. That's
pretty standard.
usually how words go.
Yeah. All I know is that Malik Murphy, not a football player, but he might be pretty athletic. Join the basketball team. Join the history and etch yourself into a banner or something, because you ain't doing any future in football. You suck.
You ain't doing any future in football. All right.
Yeah, he sucks. He's terrible.
I actually don't think he's going
Should
to be
we
that
put him on the
impactful.
hate list, the Mike hate list?
He's on the mic.
Oh, I hate him.
Add him to the card.
Add him to
Why?
the card.
Dude,
He was a Texas quarterback.
We need a preseason Mike hate
He
list.
never did anything to you.
I'm-
He
Week,
never
week
played.
before
No,
week
it's
0.
starting, it's
He
starting.
never played.
no. He actually won us game.
Well, okay, no, he never like played for you. Like he came in a game, but he never like played. He was never your quarterback.
No, I agree. I honestly have nothing against Malik Murphy. Like, look, he's on my
To
hate
quote
list.
you a minute ago, I hate him.
He's on my hate list because he's just like,
He left Texas.
kind of, and he also went to just a stupid school, and I don't think it was the right decision for him. So I was like, I kind of hate you because I think you're dumb
That's
now.
wow.
Well, he's not a football player.
Duke's a pretty good school.
He's not a football player. Maybe a good basketball school.
Yeah, he's good.
Good basketball
Look
school.
at his name on a banner.
That's what I'm
somewhere.
saying.
Yeah, we'll talk March
If you're
Madness.
gonna
Etch
join-
his name on a banner.
We'll
If
talk-
you were to join any like notable football program, I'd be like, dude, I hope this guy succeeds and goes far. But now they made such a terrible decision, I'm like, all right,
all right.
away with you.
Enough about Malik Murphy. A couple more moves. These obviously aren't as big name, but things to know. KJ Jefferson moves to UCF.
How is his name still relevant?
I don't know. He's always that quarterback that.
How old is
He's
KJ
at least
Jefferson?
31, right? What are we talking here?
No, I mean he was seemingly at Arkansas forever.
I mean, I swear I remember seeing him quarterback
6
in
years.
like 2014.
I swear to God, it was like him versus Mac Jones, versus,
But,
and then
yeah.
Tua, and then
I mean, it'll be
I remember
interesting.
him versus Menzel.
I mean, UCF's first year.
there's
in,
no way.
No,
There's
there's
Well-
no way. It says he's 22, but I mean, look at this photo, dude. This guy, there's
He's 30, he's
Pop up the photo
Get it,
here.
dude.
He's 35.
He's
Yeah,
35.
he's 35.
22, I
KJ
guess he was
Jefferson.
starting QB at 16.
Yeah, no, I mean, but one thing to note, the only reason I want to bring this up, I mean, KJ Jefferson does have obviously a lot of experience playing quarterback in the SEC.
Yep.
UCF just moved to the Big 12 with all the Big 12's teams seemingly leaving. So I mean, you look at this Big 12 conference. We're gonna talk about it, later on. I mean, the juggernaut looks like it's Utah earlier, like maybe an Oklahoma State or type thing or Kansas State, but I mean, UCF historically been pretty good in the group of 5.
National champions.
Yeah, I mean maybe they make some noise. Who
That'd
knows?
be lit.
2 more. Malachi Nelson. Side note: he was a 5-star, one of the top recruits at quarterback that's committed to SC. Moved to Boise State.
Interesting
Yeah.
move.
Very interesting move. And
That's at the end of his rope.
I was gonna say, I mean,
Bye.
the way the 12-team playoff works. I'm just gotta keep moving. The way the 12-team playoff
Bob
works,
and weave.
the
Just
top group
stay
of
in the
5
pocket.
team gets into the playoffs
Hot
at the
pocket.
5 seed, because it was gonna be the 6 conference champions. Now that the Pac-12 doesn't have one, they're kind of tweaking it right now. But it's gonna be the 5 conference champions, like 4, and then the group of 5. They're gonna get the 5 seed. So Boise State, not in one of the main conferences, it could be a situation where we see maybe a 5-star quarterback going to one of these schools that usually they never go to.
Wait, is that no matter what? Is it like locked in thing?
Yes.
So like even if they're 9-3 or 7,
It's I forget exactly which conference it is, but it's the number 1 group of 5 team is the 5 seed. They were supposed to be the 6 seed when the Pac-12 was supposed to, it was the 5 Power 5, and now there's only 4 Power 5. So the 5th spot will be taken by the number 1 group of 5 team, and the next 7 spots will be taken by the 7 next highest ranked teams.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it is very interesting. You will have a home game for a group of 5 school in the playoffs. They just don't get a bye.
wow.
And yeah, so who knows? Maybe Boise State, Malachi Nelson. And last thing, it's not a big one at all. Brock Vanderbilt,
Oh.
the backup.
Who?
The backup.
I'm sorry.
The backup in Georgia,
Georgia?
highly recruited. I think he was a 4 or 5-star. Started at Kentucky. He moved to Kentucky to replace what's his face,
Good for you, Brock.
Devin
Well,
Leary, whatever.
Yeah.
No, probably
In-
not
in
relevant.
other news that
probably
doesn't
not
have
relevant.
one,
Yeah. And given that, all the big name players have gone kind of spread out through the teams, except for the couple concentrated that we mentioned. Who do you guys feel individually will have the biggest impact as a transfer on a team next season? So this could be anyone. It doesn't have to be the best player on the best team, but we can say where they're going, they'll make the biggest difference. Or they'll, if that team's already really good, they'll keep that team at the level where they were. I'll start with Mario. Who are you feeling is the strongest of these transfers to the team that they're going?
I mean, it's hard to look past. I really like the move Ohio State did getting Will Howard. I just think seasoned
wow.
veteran quarterback.
Yeah.
They kept rolling the dice with these young guys, and they had a lot of potential. I mean, you see them like a few years after, once they hit the NFL, like they actually start looking like good quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I just think you get
CJ was awesome.
Yeah, so I think you just get if you're trying to play the college football game, right? Trying to get a natty, you just go after a big, strong, solid quarterback.
Senior.
Mm-hmm. Senior.
Who's playing.
You know what I mean? Give him
Veteran,
some weapons. I mean, you saw what he could do at Kansas State, so it's hard for me to look past that.
So you got Will Howard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Will
No,
Howard.
I like it, and I love the move. Also, I think Julian Sane, great move for him as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
he
can
gets
sit
to
a
sit
year,
a year,
Such a
behind
good
a year,
backup behind.
Dude,
Yeah.
we're
and then
set.
step in. Yeah, I mean,
And
I-
Nolan, if he
yeah.
pans out,
well, there's no way he
definitely.
stays.
Eh,
There's
you
no way
never
he
know.
stays. Mike, who do you think biggest transfer?
Actually, a guy who I feel like doesn't get talked about enough for the impact that he'll have is Evan Stewart on Oregon, the new wide receiver that they have.
A&M, right?
Yeah, from A&M. But I think pairing him with Dylan Gabriel and how, Mario said it. I don't know if I agree, but Dylan Gabriel may be better than Bo Nix. Having somebody that talented as in part of your, receiving core and having that big of a weapon, I think could be really, really lethal. And I wouldn't be too surprised if he's... I mean, I don't necessarily think he'll actually win a Heisman, but if he's in, the top 5, end part of the year, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And as far as just the way this question is phrased, I love Will Howard to Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think he keeps them where they were, at least.
I think he gets him over the hump.
Well, no, he might get over the hump. But all I'm saying is, Ohio State, I think, will be in that same group where they might lose a game or something. No matter what, they're in the playoffs this year. If they had the same team in 12-team playoffs last year, they're a one-loss playoff team. I mean,
Yeah.
they are still really good. I don't know. I like him, but I never thought he was, that unbelievable. I mean, it's going to be perfect for their team.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's better than Kyle McCord. But I don't know if he, makes that step for me. I think Dylan Gabriel is a good replacement for Bo Nix. He keeps them where they are. But for me, I kind of gave it away. I love Cam Ward to Miami. I mean, I think he really makes them relevant next year. And Miami has been starving for relevancy for a while. It looked like they might have a glimpse of it last year, and they completely fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
Like, I think he is a quarterback who I loved early in the season last year. I really like watching him play. I think he's electric. I think, honestly, if you look at the quarterbacks starting in college football, he's up there for me in my, like, favorite overall quarterback prospects. I really like him. And so I think what he will be able to do for this Miami team, if they're able to put any semblance of a roster around him, will completely let them take that next step and make the jump. So Cam Ward's my answer to that one. I really like it.
Who was the last big name to come out of Miami, by the way? And like how long ago was it?
Quarterback?
Or just in general?
What do you mean
right?
by big name?
Well, I mean, because you were kind of saying to put them back on the map, so to speak, right? So it's like, who was the last person to have them on the map, I guess?
I mean, last time they were like
you're going to be going back.
Last time they were like a national
They have an
championship team was like
insane
2007.
It was early
2000s.
2000s.
2000.
It was like really early 2000s.
When they had like Ed Reed
No, they have
and
an
Clinton
insane
Portis.
defensive player in the league right now.
I mean, they have a
Miami
couple.
currently?
They always have. They have
They
players.
had a couple recruits, but I'm
But
trying to
like
think
last
of the
time,
last good team.
last time their team was like that team. They had like Ray
What
Lewis,
do you mean as a whole?
Terrell Suggs. Obviously, was a few years. I think that was around 2000. Was Terrell Suggs, Ed
Oh,
Reed?
like as a whole. Like,
Yeah, I don't even know. It's been a while. I mean, Miami
They used,
used to be pretty
The U was,
competitive.
you know.
They used to be, yeah,
that
they had a
team.
defense. That was always their thing. They had a really, really good defense.
Well,
And-
yeah. I mean, I think it was Sean Taylor and Ed Reed.
Yeah.
and
No, so
Terrell
it's been a while.
Suggs. Like,
I think that's why I was
I
so
don't remember
surprised with you saying that, because I was like, wow, Miami
Well, it's
really
'cause
hasn't
all-
been super
Well,
relevant.
that's the same thing.
Right.
I mean, if a school had ever had like a team or like a semi-dynasty run, it's always looked at as like a football school, even if they haven't been relevant in football in the longest time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are teams that are completely irrelevant today that like are still viewed as like, football schools or
yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I like Cam Ward's chances of transfer.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's close, and unfortunately, it's on my team. But I think Will Howard. You were saying how it keeps them around the same level.
Yeah.
The problem is we haven't been near the level we were supposed to be for the past 4 years. We haven't even made it to a Big Ten championship, which means our level is not even close. I mean, Will Howard has so much room for us to be
That's
better.
what I think.
That's fair.
And I think that he can make us the number one seed. He can. I know if we're undefeated with Georgia, and it's a pick 'em at the end of the year,
Texas.
whatever it is.
Whatever.
If at the end of the year it's just
Teams
a pick
that
'em,
win.
Whatever.
yeah. Ohio State could be up there to actually make a run with the defense we already have and the offense we have going. So I think that Will Howard is a huge step for that, and something we haven't had or we didn't have last year, which killed us. So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a monster step for Ohio State.
Tate, how do you feel about this?
I kind of just love the move that Oregon made with Dylan Gabriel. It's so hard for me because that team could have very well, if they didn't go get an absolute vet, because their team is still very good.
Yeah.
They made very good moves, and that
Their
team
offense is
that's
insane.
that team is going to be really good. And imagine that team without a player like Dylan Gabriel, or with one of their recruits, right?
Dante Moore.
Dante Moore. They're starting Dante Moore next year. Nobody's talking. Nobody cares what that team. They're like, I don't care about. I don't care about that team.
I mean, if
know
he can
about
throw a screen, they might be talking about him.
they might be talking
He's a
about
great.
it.
He knows how to throw pick sixes like
Yeah,
it.
he loves pick sixes. He was good for one
But
game.
I think you're gonna see Oregon in that top 5 conversation the whole year because they made the move to go get Dylan Gabriel.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
love him. I think
All
they're
right,
very
I like that. So we had a couple Will Howards, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, and you had the A&M wide receiver, right?
Evan Stewart.
Evan Stewart, also for Oregon. So 2 Ohio State, 2 Oregon. I mean, this kind of parlays into my next question. Which team clearly won the portal? I don't want to hear it's close or it's a tie. You give one team, they've won the portal so far. Who is it? Tate.
I mean, it's got to be between Ohio State and Oregon.
I want one team.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm the same way.
Won it?
Who's won the portal?
Give me Oregon.
Oregon.
That's psycho. Just look at the players that got ranked and how good they are and the 5-star ability.
boys.
They're not. They're Big Ten, but I mean, I don't know. That I think it's Ohio State by such a clear margin. I mean, we literally got the 1, the 4, the 12, the 20, all the most insane players. And for us, we filled positions, not got extra positions that we might not need. Like Oregon got Evan Stewart.
Yeah.
They already have 2 of the. Ted Johnson's going to be one of the best wide receivers in the country, and they have a 5-star already. So
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to have
No,
a
I'm saying,
good
no, no,
it's
receiving
not.
core.
Well, that's not as bad.
adding never
Yeah,
hurts,
what?
but we're literally filling in spots perfectly. We lost our safety in Proctor. We fill in the number 1 pick in the entire transfer portal. We lost our quarterback. We fill in the top,
Yeah.
if not the best quarterback in the thing. You know what I mean? Like we're replacing in perfect spots, and that's how you win the transfer portal. Not just adding, but replacing what you lost in the draft and or transfers.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would say about
No,
Mike.
I agree completely. And I was going to say, I mean, no one really said the biggest impact was a safety because, it's hard to quantify
in college.
the impact of a safety. But, I mean, getting a quarterback that's a senior and then the number one overall player in the portal in Caleb Downs. And then also you're going to have a 2 running back, like 2-headed beast.
Junkins
is a monster. And then you got, your 5-star quarterback to back him up. I mean, it's Ohio State for sure has won the portal so far to me. Oregon's done great, but it's Ohio State in my opinion.
Don't get me wrong. I love the moves that we've made, but if we're actually looking at like who had the strongest transfer portal moves, similar to Tate, I'm very, very close between Ohio State and Oregon. The only reason why I give it to Oregon is only no, but listen, because the only reason why is because I think they did more to help their depth on both sides of the ball, right? So it's like
with Muhammad and them.
With Muhammad and Cam Alexander, they also boosted their receiving core with Evan Stewart, which I think is great. And then also exactly what I think it was you were saying, like maybe Dylan Gabriel isn't even like better than, but I think he's not gonna be a lot worse than Bo Nix, right? So he's not gonna bring them down. He's not gonna be like a liability.
He's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the portal for sure.
For sure. And so I think literally only because of the amount of depth that they got through this transfer portal, whereas Ohio State got like 5 or 6 players versus like the 8 or 9, right? I think that is the only reason why I give it to Oregon.
All right, that's fair. Mario?
Boise State.
Okay.
Really?
Malachi Nelson, baby. Dude's a freak.
Boise State won the portal.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all time.
Malachi
That's all
Nelson's
time.
better than Dylan Gabriel. Malachi Nelson.
I mean, we haven't really seen him play yet.
I mean, dude's a freak.
No, I know.
No,
I'm saying overall
do they
team.
have a-
I accept this. This is a good response.
They were
actually.
never going to do anything, and then they get a great quarterback, and now they're going to make it to the playoffs.
Be
If they
relevant.
make it, wow,
Actually,
We get to
Wow.
pick that. We're gonna be the number
yeah,
one.
that
podcast.
actually.
Wow.
I love that take.
Well,
Because
I love that take.
from every position,
No,
it's
I-
Ohio State, but like
that seems.
if you
reasonable.
look at
Ohio State,
based
Ohio
off
State was
weight-
gonna
based
be
off
in the
weight
playoffs.
that it's
Yeah.
gonna
Ohio
make,
State
yeah.
there. Boise State, one player goes here.
Based off weight of movement, yeah, I think. Wow, that's an interesting.
I like that. I like that. That's sharp.
It's interesting.
All right, we talked biggest winners. Now we got to pivot. Who is the biggest loser of transfer portal season? Mario, I'm starting with you here. Which team has lost the most?
I mean, Bama.
Roll Tide!
Yeah. No, I mean they've lost so many people. It's just
Yeah, I mean they
No,
lost.
they have-
the
DeBoer's
number
got
one-
it
They
tough.
lost the number one receiver, the number one safety.
five-star
Yeah,
I mean they're losing 5 stars left and right. Obviously, they're still Bama. They're gonna have,
they lost their coach too.
They're gonna have.
Yeah, they lost Saban. I mean, they've lost everyone. They still obviously are gonna have good players, but they're getting stretched thin. So
So it's Bama.
Bama.
Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how it's not Bama. We took 2 of them, and I mean, as Mario said, even more of them are leaving, and so
I'll tell you.
they have like I think they lost what 4, 5 stars.
I don't know. I'm probably more. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, Bama's they're getting fleeced.
Yeah,
They're getting
and so I mean,
absolutely
I
fleeced.
can't see how
Because
anyone has lost more. Than that.
It's honestly all. I mean, obviously, it's because of this, but it's because of Saban. You know, like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you go to you play for the coach that recruited you. Like Saban, like went in these guys' houses, like talked to their parents and all that. Saban, the best coach ever, leaves. You're the number one receiver, number
like,
one
I'm not
safety. You're like,
staying
no,
there,
I'm gonna go play for a championship somewhere else. But I'll tell you how it's not Bama. It's Clemson.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
100%
Yeah.
chance.
It's
You guys-
always gonna
did
be
you
Clemson.
root-
It always will be
because you lost
Clemson.
Makuba.
Nope, until
Because they
Dallas
don't do any transfer.
We are the only Power 5 school to not accept one transfer player.
Yep.
Not that we couldn't. We have money for days.
No, you
How
guys
do you think we-
choose.
how do you think we got-
Dabo refuses.
How do you think we got Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence to come? You fucking pay him.
Oh yeah.
You pay him a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And like, so now all of a sudden we're taking this moral stance, like, oh, we're gonna pay players anyhow. Brother, we've been doing it under the table for years.
Yeah.
Now it's just you can show the money in public. Like, yeah, we haven't taken a transfer. We lost. I mean, I think our biggest loss by far was Makuba. Andrew Makuba was the best player on our defense that was returning. Him and Wiggins were our entire secondary last year. Wiggins left for the draft. Makuba leaving is massive for our team.
Yeah.
We lost Toriano Pride. He didn't do anything, but he was a 5-star corner. So those were the 2 5-stars we lost. Bo Collins, technically another 5-star we lost, although Bo Collins wasn't very good. He's a senior wide receiver. but he went to go team up at Notre Dame with Riley Leonard. And so not only did we lose talent, but just the unwillingness to go get someone puts such a handicap on the team because college football, there's really no reason to recruit players anymore, to be honest, when you can just go let other schools develop these guys for 2 to 3 years and then just go take them as mature players. Clemson, it's such a disadvantage when one person gets hurt or there's an injury or not just an injury on the offensive side, but like someone either opts out of a game or something happens.
And then you have to put in freshmen.
They're all freshmen.
4-star.
That's literally all
never
of it.
played a game.
Our receivers were super young because we didn't bring any transfers. You know, we already have the quarterback returning, Cade, but I mean, you got to help him out with transfers on the offensive line. You got to have so our unwillingness to do that, I think, will keep us in neutral. Granted, I really like our chances returning next year for the ACC. We're gonna talk about it in a second, but we've got to be the biggest losers here. I mean, Bama still has Milroe. They're still gonna be fine. They got a new coach. They're bringing in some guys too. We didn't bring in anyone. Clemson lost.
How like drastic or like I don't know, how much impact do you think this has on Dabo, who's already on the hot seat, being more on the hot seat?
I mean, you'll
right?
see it.
Well, it depends how the season
depends how the
goes.
season
Yeah.
goes because, I mean, you've seen
God, I was so close.
when you
last year.
watch Clemson play.
I was so close.
No, you were.
You're a season early.
You called it. Yeah, you might have been a season early. I think you actually called it pretty perfectly preseason. When you said I think it was going to be on
They
the
ran
hot
a
seat
little
this
good
year.
at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It hurt me.
Yeah, he did his big thing like bet on us now type thing. If they lost another game, he might have been out, but he won out. But the problem is you've seen the quality of the team degrade over the last couple years slowly because of the unwillingness to get transfers. When you'd watch Clemson play, we had freaks all over the field. Like when we won, our entire defensive line we had 4 picks in the first round on the fucking D line or linebackers. Like that, you're not seeing that at all. There's one Clemson player projected in the first round, and he's a corner. The next one's not until the second round, and then you have like for maybe a third rounder. Like that was never the case. You could bring in these guys that are first rounders. Now you're just seeing young talent, and even some of the young talent leaves. Like it's like a funnel with a hole in it, and you just like it starts to like flow out, and you don't notice it in 1 year, but 2 or 3 years down the line, you look at them, you're like, when you looked at Duke and Clemson last year, you're like, wow, there wasn't a big difference between the athleticism on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I think it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I don't. You said a lot there. I just need to say, we'll always, not just to this year, we'll always be Clemson as long as Dabo Swinney's the coach of that team. They will always be the biggest losers.
Unless they change their philosophy.
You're saying because he doesn't
Dabo
participate?
Swinney will never, ever change his philosophy. It's
He's gonna have
one of the things about himself. Because he doesn't understand or care or respect or whatever the word you want to put right there for the transfer portal, they will always be the biggest losers with tying a weight to your ankle and trying to play with it every game. In my opinion.
I agree. I think he will have to change his stance though. I think he will change his
Either
stance.
that or they'll have to change the rules as a whole for college.
Or change the coach.
Or where
they just
where
kick
is
him
he
out,
gonna go?
and
I'm saying like no school, even if it's not at Clemson,
he loses
like
his
he's
job.
not gonna go to another school and then tell them they can't do the transfer.
Time to be a reporter. Join Nick's head.
Maybe
he'll be
how do you
an
feel?
analyst.
So this year we kind of saw a lot of coaches leave, like big names, Harbaugh, Saban. You know, Bama's losing a ton of players. That's kind of seems like the obvious like transfer portal. But middle of the year, like A&M's falling apart.
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher's gone. They had one of the most historic recruiting classes ever, and they're losing everybody. Like just name by name by name by name, just gone. Include like with Jimbo Fisher's gone, and nobody believes in the program anymore.
Yeah.
It just kind of seems like they were kind of starting to come here, and they had all this.
They were
promise.
kind of good last year.
Yeah.
Like they had their exactly. They had kind of had their games, and then the coach was gone, and then they're I don't know. I just feel like Texas A&M was kind of like that weird school that is just you see on here
it's a tough game to play at. Yeah.
So and so's going to this school. This school's where are they coming from?
Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I feel like super low key UTSA is also kind of getting fleeced. Like there's
But UTSA was never like
no, they were never like crazy good, but they're losing a lot of big players.
Well, you
right?
do
And
see
so
it.
it's like
I would say this is a sentiment to a lot of those group of 5 schools where the players that play really
Kinda
well
like the
at
goal.
these schools
The goal is to go to a
get enough of a name and then go play somewhere they can compete.
Yeah.
so it's just
like
a
so-
development.
You're totally right.
It's like JUCO.
Where
you know?
UTSA had a really good season last year. their players got some national spotlight. And you're totally right. They're all like, wait a minute, let's go play
Texas,
out of
let's go
Texas.
play.
Let's go play in Oregon. Let's go to a school that we couldn't get to out of high school. So yeah, I do agree though. Like all of those schools, I think you can group together. No one's transferring to them unless you're Malachi Nelson.
Freak. Yeah.
Sharp.
Yeah. All right. Now we talk transfer portal. There's a lot to cover there. I want to talk some new conference realignment. Who we think is going to win each conference way too early. Then we can talk some Heisman and some playoff. Let's get right into it. There's been a lot of mix-ups in college this year, not just with coaches, not just with transfer portal players, but with teams and divisions. I mean, you've seen so much movement. These divisions look completely different than they ever have. There's more teams than they ever have.
Yeah.
Funding from
And they
4 or
all
5.
ditched the interdivision,
Bracketed.
division
Brackets.
Yeah.
bracket
Where
it's
it's
like
two sides.
the
tournament
the conference championship was traditionally played between the winner of like the East and the West, or whatever.
Top
it was.
two teams,
North
baby.
South. All of these conferences, it's just the best 2 teams. The way the ACC did it last year, SEC and Big Ten jump to that now. So I'm going to quickly read through the new conferences, what they look like, and then we can talk about it. We can do one at a time. So SEC, we'll start there. All of the teams are the same. No one left the SEC.
Okay.
The teams that joined, Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay.
So it is an
Juggernauts in the Big
absolute
12.
juggernaut of a conference. All the same guys. They play a mixed schedule, and it's the top 2 overall teams that make the conference championship. Mario, you are an SEC guy. Your LSU
Yep.
team is in the SEC.
We are.
How do you feel about the addition of Texas and Oklahoma? Do you think it means anything different for the conference? Do you think it improves it? And how do you like, the realignment to just the top 2 teams? Do you think LSU has a shot to win this year? Or if not, let us know who.
I mean, it definitely gives us, a shot. Before, like,
Fair
you had to
position.
win your conference, in the conference championship. Now it's just the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely get a better shot making the playoffs now, obviously with the addition of, or expansion to 12 teams. I think, though, the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, I mean, just makes the conference harder. I don't think anyone would disagree. I mean, they're 2 good schools.
Yeah.
Texas had a good year last year. I still think it's Georgia's conference to lose. Right now, I still look at it as much as I'd like to throw LSU up there. Just Georgia's bringing everyone back. I think they're a little pissed off that they didn't get that 4 spot last season.
Definitely.
So, yeah, it's I still got Georgia probably finishing number 1. And listen, I'm not a believer in Quinn Ewers. So as long as he's quarterback for Texas, I don't think they're going to be number 2.
Okay.
I think this many years with Brian Kelly, it's either he gets us there or he's out.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
See what he can
It's
do.
early enough in the
So you're going
preseason.
we can do.
LSU.
So
it's
LSU will-
Georgia
Georgia
LSU.
number 1, LSU number 2.
Okay.
Love it.
Michael, it's your new conference now. We now have 2 SEC guys here on the panel.
New waters.
I mean,
for
you've
them.
already let us know that
They know
Texas
this
is
one.
winning this conference.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be the 1 and 2? Who's playing in that championship game? And is Texas really going to make it out?
Yeah, I mean, very obviously, and like I said before, I think Texas is going to win it. Honestly, solely based off like the strength and the kind of like history of the program, I'm going to put Georgia number 2. My genuine reasoning for this is we talked the entire episode about who are the 3 winners of this transfer portal. It was Oregon, Ohio State, and Texas. I think Texas has shown an unbelievable ability to kind of bolster their roster where they lost people, like especially in our receivers. Absolutely massive. We got Trey Moore as an edge rusher, so he's going to replace either Byron Murphy or Devondre Sweat. We have Mbuka to help out with Ryan Watts where he was gone. I mean, there's so many big notable transfers that are going in, filling these big spots. Granted, it's a new system. I think it's difficult to just play perfectly everywhere.
Yeah.
But just the sole fact that Georgia isn't really in this conversation of the big moves that they're making, and I understand that they are a historically powerful juggernaut. Yes, I get it. But I don't think that they're adapting to the change that's going to happen, and I think Texas is doing a very good job. And we also extended Steve's contract to 2030. That was 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's Tuesday, so 3 days ago.
Yeah, you have
Over Sarkisian.
here's my thought process. I'm just gonna tell you the 2 teams, and then I'll kind of tell you why. So number 1, Georgia's winning the conference.
Yep.
They're winning the conference. They have the best returning quarterback in college football, Carson Beck. I mean, you can say what you want. He's the best quarterback returning
Ditto.
in college football. they added Trevor Etienne and didn't really lose that many players. I mean, this team is not only that, but you said it perfectly. They're pissed off.
Yeah.
They haven't had a chance to play with a chip on their shoulder because we talked about it. They didn't lose in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
2.5, 3 years. They won back-to-back national championships, SEC championships, weren't losing a football game.
Lost one game
They
in 3
lost
years.
one game by a field goal and didn't get the chance to defend their title.
Yeah.
So they are obviously feeling a certain type of way about that. I think they steamroll this season. I mean, last year we saw them, every game felt lackadaisical.
Yep.
We were like, because they don't need to win. Like, what are they proving them? Right now, I mean, Georgia's number one for the college football, like for the favorite, but you have Texas at number 3, Bama at number 5, and then Ole Miss at 6 for the favorite. So there's a lot of SEC teams up there.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss is actually the team I think is going to play them in the conference championship. They are returning a lot of really good players, and I think the other
Jackson
teams.
Dart's very good.
Jackson Dart's very, very good.
He's
He's in my opinion, the second best quarterback in the SEC
Without a doubt.
behind Carson Beck.
Might be the most talented.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, I like.
Carson Beck, probably a little bit better game manager.
Yeah, I like the way he plays, but all I'm saying is this: I like Texas. They are a good team. No, but like, listen to me. I'm not shitting on Texas. I legitimately want to talk. I talk about Clemson like this
No,
too.
I know.
They played a Big 12 schedule last year.
Yep.
The one time they got in the playoffs, they lost to a Washington team that was clearly overmatched when they played Michigan.
Yeah.
Right. So they lost to one player who was able to just dice them up, score 100 points, and like you only played a Big 12 schedule, and where you lost a game in that Big 12 schedule. So I'm just gonna read off your schedule next year. You play Michigan, right?
At
Week 2.
At Michigan.
Week 2.
You
skipped
play.
one.
Then you play. You have a couple easy games.
Oh, I thought. Oh.
You get Mississippi State. This is probably going to be a win. Then you go Oklahoma and
Red
then
River Showdown.
You have
Neutral
Oklahoma and Georgia, back-to-back games, and then you go Vanderbilt to win. Then you play Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, A&M. So you could be a really good team. I don't know if you played a schedule
It's
like
a tough
this.
schedule.
A regular season back-to-back with Oklahoma, Georgia, 3 weeks after playing Michigan at Michigan. I mean, if you win those games, yes. I mean, that's a juggernaut of a team.
But yeah, if you beat Georgia,
But
you're winning.
I just
Yep.
haven't seen Texas do it yet. It's the first year they're trying to do something like this. And all of these SEC
New
teams,
games, new atmosphere.
they always
No,
talk,
I get it.
They always talk about how crazy it is to play an SEC schedule. They're like,
Yeah.
these guys are beat up at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And what's the Big 12? I mean, you're fresh.
Dude,
You're walking around like you're.
Yeah.
So that's my reason for Texas not being in those games. I got Georgia
Exactly
and
my
Ole Miss.
reason too. I think just before Ryan goes, I think they've done a great job in the transfer portal.
Agreed.
But it's just the fact that like LSU, Georgia, Alabama, like they just know like going into this stadium, like going in here at Mississippi State night game, like they know kind of what to expect,
What it feels like.
what it feels like. This is just completely new for Texas. So I think it's
Also just
definitely
the level of play, whether it's
and
coaching.
and there's
The
not
size of the players.
your off weeks against like you still have to go into A&M, you still have to go into Mississippi State, you
Yeah.
still have to.
SEC linemen. That's like the biggest thing.
That's
Is
what I'm
like
saying.
yeah.
That it's like it's just tougher and tougher. And like Tyler said, by the end of the year, like dude, you're beat up. So yeah, that's the only reason. I think Texas, if they continue on their path and give them like a year or two to adjust, will probably be up there. To be
I
honest,
still think they make the
I hate to
playoffs,
say-
by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
12
they'll
team
still
playoffs.
make the
They still
playoffs.
make the
They
playoffs.
still make the
I just don't
playoffs.
think they get an SEC championship.
Yeah.
Really quick, and I'm not even trying to like kind of demote Georgia in any way. Like I'm really not.
That'd be tough.
But I do. No, I know. But I just want to point out, and I don't know if you guys remember, but last year when we were talking preseason college football, we were saying last year Georgia had a walk to the national championship. That literally it was the easiest schedule they've ever created, and they saved all of their hard games for this year. I get it. Georgia was an absolute juggernaut until the SEC championship where they lost to Alabama
By 3.
Absolutely crazy game. They like you run that back 10 times, they maybe win six of them, maybe, right? But I'm very convinced that they weren't playing the level of competition that they maybe should have been. And so it makes them look so much better and so much stronger going into it. I completely understand. Georgia is a juggernaut of a team for a reason because of the regular season like results that they had going into a championship game.
Remember,
But
2 years prior, they still won every single game.
I
That's
get
why
it,
we
but
look at it.
I
That's
get
all
it, but 2 years ago, I mean, especially in college, you think, okay, 1 year ago, you have some guys returning. It's like a pretty similar team. We go back 2-3 years. I mean, granted, people play 3 years in
it's-
college, but
now it's
it's
just
a
a
very
dynasty.
different. It's a very different
Well,
team.
so what?
Build a dynasty.
So here's the
Right.
thing: is that last year was, I mean, we talked about this, and granted, I'm not trying to take away from your guys' time talking about this, but when we're talking about Georgia, like, traditionally speaking, if this is any other season, Georgia's still in the college football playoffs, right? There had never been a situation where there were this many
so many undefeated teams.
conference champions, and then the way it panned out with like Texas
Beating
had
the
beat
champions.
the SEC.
Yep.
It had to play out like almost exactly how it did for Georgia to miss it, losing to Bama by 3.
Yeah.
And so, like, Georgia just plays at a different level. And when we're talking about players returning, dude, like, returning everyone on a team that only lost 1 game by 3 points to an SEC champion Bama, literally everyone, and then adding players with Kirby Smart as the coach and Saban leaving. Like, when I'm talking, like, this is an NFL team playing college football next year.
I get it. It's just when we talk about these guys that are returning, and I'm impressed with them. I genuinely am impressed with the results, but I also understand the level of competition they were playing against to get those results, right? So it's just like, I don't know. In my mind, it's almost like a JV team playing a Frosh team. It's like they're not that big of a difference, but it's a big enough difference,
so
right?
My thing is, can't you argue the same thing for Texas?
Yeah.
Is why they're at 3.
Playing a Big 12 schedule.
So what? That's why the same reason why you're arguing Georgia is the same reason why they're arguing Texas.
That's fair. I
Because-
mean, we also didn't have one of the easiest schedules in college football last year. And I think going into preseason, we were all saying Georgia has a ridiculously easy season.
No, I see.
For an SEC schedule, correct.
For an SEC
Yeah.
schedule.
You know, Texas, I mean, your conference schedule wasn't hard, but you did play the most impressive away game in Bama. Correct.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, Texas, you'll both be good next year. But that was just my reasoning for why I think
I get
Georgia
it.
and
Yeah, I
Bama's
get it.
in there. What about you, Ryan?
I think, I hate to bring other things into this, but like how I see the NBA East versus West, how like if an East player goes into the West, it's a whole different ballgame because of how hard it is. Same reason why I see for Texas.
Yeah.
When you go to the SEC, just playing is going to be so much difficult. Just like the things you get away with, the turnovers that you didn't matter in a game that might matter late in the game, the teams that you play with better defenses, like even Auburn for sake. Like Auburn's defense would kill everyone in the Big 12, but in the SEC they're ranked 6th. You know what I mean, or 7th, whatever it is. But they almost beat Georgia. They almost beat Bama because they're so good and they're that high level.
Yeah.
They're my 3rd. Texas is my 3rd. They're still going to make it. They're still going to be dominant. I mean,
Yeah.
their path. Who gives a shit about the SEC championship? Their path is a national championship. If they want it, they're gonna have to beat 3 teams to do it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. They'll get to the same spot everyone else.
You'll have good practice. You got Michigan and Georgia in the regular season.
So, but I'm gonna snipe it like I did last year for you guys
Yeah.
when I told you Bama was gonna beat Georgia in the.
You were the
SEC
only
championship.
person to get the SEC.
Oh, I snapped
the
the shit.
only person.
I'll do it again. Don't worry. Georgia will finish
Ryan's-
as the 1 seed. I'll give you that. Georgia's a snipe.
Not a
Finish
hot
as the
take.
1 seed. I love that. I like it for me.
Are you going Ole Miss?
Give me some spice.
No, I got spice for you. I got the best spice, and I'm gonna tell you how they do it. Number 2, and who will win the SEC? Missouri Tigers. Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something. Real quick.
Missouri-
Real quick. They play one top 10 team next year, and it's Bama. One top 10 team. All the other teams, Texas plays 3, Bama plays 4, Georgia plays 4. Which means if they just lose to Bama and somehow can beat the other team or lose 2 games, and maybe Georgia loses 1 game and these other teams lose 2 or 3 games, they have a much easier path. And also, they had one of the youngest teams in the league with Brady Cook, Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, their entire offensive line.
They're returning,
They got the 3 best offensive linemen in the entire transfer portal.
Oh, Texas might not make it out anymore.
No, I'm telling you, Missouri got
like
the
it,
3
the side
best
of it.
offensive transporters. They got the 2 best defensive players in the portal.
Yeah.
They also got Clemson's 5-star Torian.
Yeah, he's ass, but pride.
No, he's
Toriano
he's actually good. He's a 5.
he ain't playing for us.
No, he's gonna be a stud. He's gonna be a stud on Missouri. And
He
this
probably will.
team, they were top 10 last year. People forget that Missouri was
No,
top 10.
no, I don't forget.
I almost
better than every week.
almost beat down the Heisman winner LSU in the most insane game ever you'll ever see. Played a tough game against
LSU over.
Tough game against Georgia. They played them into the late of the 3rd quarter and got beat. Georgia was just the better team.
Yeah.
I think all they have to do is get there, do the same thing you did last year. All you had to do.
You think
were
they
right
win
there.
the SEC?
I think they're gonna have to win 1 game. That's all. All I think is they'll win 1 game against Georgia. I think Missouri is stacked.
I
They're
like that.
young and they're gonna be so good.
I like that call. That's a sharp
No,
call.
that's a snipe. That's a snipe.
I like it.
That's a call.
I absolutely love that. I mean, I'm not gonna take any of your time almost at all because I feel like everybody said all.
Yeah, we had a lot to say about
Yeah.
that. SEC.
I was going to touch
too much.
on Missouri because I feel like someone had to say something about Missouri.
Yep.
I am obsessed with that team, so I think I'm gonna. I don't know about winning. I don't know about winning the SEC, but I absolutely love them to be just in the fight the whole time. Top 10 team, maybe top 5 team. I don't know. We'll see. That's gonna be an absolute sick team. But Georgia number 1. I think with Texas, same as Mario. I just worry about Quinn. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I
That's a big
seriously,
thing,
I
too.
worry about Quinn. He has not done it for
Not
me.
a
Like,
big game quarterback.
their
no.
team gets it done in other ways. Like when
They do.
Texas
No,
they
wins,
do.
Their
They
defense,
they defense gets it done. Their
Run the
other
ball,
yep,
defense.
their
Yeah.
other players make plays. Not it hasn't been Quinn. So
No.
I think
So who's your 2?
it's
Is
Missouri.
it Missouri? It's
It's
Georgia, Missouri.
Georgia,
Wow.
Missouri.
Wow. That's
Love
sharp.
those calls.
All right.
Speaking of running backs, I can't.
Next conference, Big Ten.
Oh my god.
The other main conference in college football is the other 2 conferences have been weak as so Big Ten, as we said, they added some of the Pac-12 juggernauts. They added Oregon, they added UCLA, USC, and Washington to the mix. And you still got, your big boys, your Ohio States and your Michigans. So, Ryan, you're the Big Ten guy. We're going to start with you. How do you see this season falling out, given that it's no longer the conference is split in the divisions? Who's going to be in the Big Ten championship? Who wins it?
It's very easy. Ohio State easily the whole year. I actually think, as a gambler, I love to hearing this. But when there is no pressure to now win a certain game that you freak out about every year, and you can still get to the game you've been waiting for, the Big Ten, there's no game they're gonna lose. I'm telling you right now. The Michigan game is just in their head, and they're just up Ryan Day because they had to win that game to be in conversation for anything. Now that it doesn't matter. I mean, we're gonna go undefeated. We're not gonna lose a game. We're gonna win Big Ten championship easily. It's not even gonna be close. The other team, it's a mix. I don't think nothing really flies off the screen. But I mean, how do you not go with Oregon? They're deep.
Yeah.
They have a great
The
coach.
newcomers.
The newcomers. I mean, I'm very excited to see how they play Big Ten defenses because motherfuckers strap on the East Coast. But I can't bet against. Dylan Gabriel's a stud. They're gonna be fine. So I think it'll be Ohio State, Oregon. But Ohio State will not lose a game next year and win the Big Ten championship.
Okay, Tate.
Dude, I mean, UCLA is gonna win the Big Ten.
Hell yeah!
Plus $1
Jesus
million.
Christ.
I love that.
No. It'll be Ohio State. This is so boring. I mean, it's gonna be Ohio State, and then of course I talked about Oregon a lot earlier. I think Oregon is kind of that random team that, I mean, not random, but they made a lot of great moves. I think Dan Lanning's a great coach, and they play a little different up there in the Pacific Northwest. So, I like them to be the runner-ups. Oh my god, I love the Iowa Hawkeyes. I don't know why. They're literally
That defense.
they're the ugliest team in the world. Yeah. But give them a quarterback.
They won't get one.
No,
just
just
an
And they
offense.
won't.
They won't get
Yeah,
one.
any kind of offense.
they're
So
not hanging
honorable
out.
mention Iowa Hawkeyes. But
Yeah.
it's gonna be 1-2.
Is it Ohio State, Oregon?
Yeah,
Ohio State,
so
Oregon.
I mean, I can't get away from Ohio State, Oregon either, especially given that, these are the 2 teams that are going to be in national championship contention. From there, I'm not really looking at Michigan. They lost McCarthy, lost the coach, lost a lot of players. Penn State, I think, might get interesting,
They could get
So my real picks for 1 and 2 are going to be Ohio State, Oregon. I do also think Ohio State goes undefeated and wins the Big Ten, but which might be the consensus here. I don't know. It's not that trivial of a conference. But one team no one's talking about, and maybe they should not talk about, but I think could get interesting. No, is USC. And just listen.
Why?
No. They haven't been relevant in forever. I feel like something's like, I don't know. I feel like it's the you kick a dog so many times type thing, and maybe they just suck forever. But
If they couldn't
They
do it with
just
Caleb
have a
Williams,
witch
get
in
them
the
in
back,
Pac-12.
like,
I'm not.
Stirring a cauldron and making the.
I'm not saying that they're gonna win the conference or anything. But what I'm saying is, I wouldn't surprise me if they go. I don't know what their win total over is. I haven't looked at it. But if they win some games, who was the quarterback that played in their last game?
I forgot. He's
He
number
was a
7.
stud.
It's the new
I know who you're
quarterback
talking
they
about.
have.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brand? No.
Drew, if he's listening, can you look it up real quick? Drew, if he's listening, will kill me because he loves this guy. But they have a quarterback that looked unbelievably promising at the end of last season. They still have Lincoln Riley as a coach, which, granted, he's not a finisher,
That's tough.
but he has been known to make some moves and get some things. Dude,
Miller
Moss.
Miller Moss. He is my
out Miller Moss.
USC and Miller Moss are my Big Ten sleepers next year because they paid this coach too much money for him to just lie down and do nothing. I think somehow they find a way to win games. I don't know how. I don't know why. They lost a lot of players. But yeah, it's going to be Ohio State, Oregon. But my sleeper team is USC. I will be sprinkling a little bit on.
Sleep.
Just really quick before I get into it, the only reason why I so strongly disagree with that is because USC after last year has negative defense, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, how do you go into the Big Ten, which is like not known for their defense, but they are very, very strong defensively. Like
They're gonna have to do something.
do you do?
That's my
why it's a
logic.
hot
Be
take,
some
yeah.
electricity.
Guys, I'll tell you how. It's the Lincoln Riley strategy. You score more points.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It doesn't always work. But it's
That's
strategy.
totally my thing though. Is that they're not in the Pac-12 anymore, so they can't just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
I
that
think
will
like
not
they
work.
paid
You
Lincoln
would
Riley.
think, right?
You don't know. You would think
Yeah,
maybe I'm just wrong,
You
but
just
they
can't.
paid him $100 million to go coach a team, and now they actually play real competition. He looks like he has a pretty good quarterback.
Good
Lincoln
quarterback.
Riley can do things with quarterbacks.
Yep.
You know that his quarterbacks go number 1 in the draft. Like
No
clockwork.
expectations
win.
on them.
Lincoln Riley's hammer is like quarterbacks, and everything else is just a nail. He's just like quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what I'm saying. And if you see
Love that
spectacular, you don't
analogy.
really see a lot of spectacular quarterback play in that conference. So if Miller Moss all of a sudden starts going crazy,
No, yeah.
maybe they win some games. That's all I'm saying. But yeah,
Because I'm an actual friend, by the way. I do think it's between Ohio State and Oregon. But I have a hot take. And this might be ridiculously hot, but I don't think Michigan makes the playoffs. I
Stole my thunder.
I think they've kind
don't
of
hate
fallen
that.
off
You
an
guys just
absolute
hate Michigan.
wagon. Dude, I mean, I like do something to like ride with Ryan and like be his buddy on something, and he just hates on me.
I said you guys. He said steal my thunder, which means he agrees, and then he shook his head, and I said you guys really just hate Michigan.
Nah, yeah,
mic
I mean,
show.
you should be hating him with me.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Like, we should be
I
teaming
hate
up
Michigan,
on
but
this.
I
Like, you should be
understand.
like,
It was
oh,
last
yeah.
year where you guys were all like, Michigan's on a team, Michigan's not relevant. Da, 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 da.
This is a
And I
little
was like, hey,
different because they're
Michigan's gonna
losing
win
their
it all.
coach. I mean, they're Blake Corum's gone, right? Yeah,
right.
obviously
They
Blake
replaced him
Corum's
with a
gone.
five-star.
Give
And
me
dude,
Michigan
yeah,
versus Georgia last year.
Michigan
I
has
just
no
wanna
way.
see it.
I don't know if they're gonna be ranked the whole year.
but you have Ohio
Ranked
State.
the whole year. That's a
out,
take.
Michael,
That's a
don't-
shot.
don't do it. Don't do it. I
Wait,
just-
maybe
Clip
not. Wait,
that.
maybe not. Wait,
It's
maybe
the
not.
Florida State take from last year.
I do have a hot take.
Let me hear it.
Hot take alert.
FSU will not be relevant at the end of the year.
What do you mean?
I need to explain
How
why.
not relevant?
What do you mean by not relevant?
They won't be ranked.
You think FSU? Wait, hold on.
Oh my god! Clip,
that's
clip, Mark.
that's
clip.
a-
Wait, what?
Oh my
That's a
god!
take.
They won't be ranked.
All right, you got Ohio State, or do we all have Ohio State and Oregon?
Yeah, I have Ohio State, Oregon.
I have Ohio State winning, undefeated. Oregon number 2.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, Mike stole my thunder.
Michigan doesn't make.
Michigan doesn't make the playoffs. They've never really been that good. They've been making the playoffs the past couple years and just losing. But with Harbaugh as your coach, it's inevitable at some point. Like, he's a good enough coach to where, like, okay, you just keep throwing wood in the fire. Eventually, it's gonna burn. Like, you give him enough years, yeah, he was gonna win eventually. But like I said before last season, Ohio State would choke every year. Like, they would be the better team and they would just choke. Cause something in their heads
Ryan
about
Day is
like
different, bro.
no, Ryan Day is truly different. But yeah, the fact that Harbaugh's gone now, this program's just gonna go down. So,
Okay, so we all see the Big Ten shaped out the exact same way.
Yep.
Pretty gnarly.
All right, moving on to the ACC.
Oh yeah.
All right, ACC added 3 teams to the conference. Absolute juggernauts: Cal,
Wow.
Stanford,
Wow.
and SMU.
Holy.
Oh, Smoo!
Yeah. So they added
Smooth.
3 teams.
Smoo team total over, baby.
Yeah.
Must
I haven't
ride.
said anything yet.
So they added 3 teams to the conference.
Go Stangs.
I will go first on how I view this season unfolding. The 3 teams you added mean nothing. I mean, SMU scores points, but they don't play anyone ever. So, I think they're gonna get crushed this year. Clemson wins the conference.
Oh, back on
Jesus
this train.
Christ.
No,
Oh,
no, no.
Lord.
Okay.
Listen, just
okay,
listen.
No, okay. I like
guy.
it.
Hear me out.
I'm here.
So, Cade has been terrible.
Yeah.
He's
Shout
not.
out,
he's
shout
not-
out.
he's
Really
not
bad.
that
No,
good.
really
Okay,
bad.
in front of the pod.
Cade
Cade is
Heisman.
still, and I'll kind of die on this sword. He's still a 5-star. He's still the top dual threat quarterback in his class. He hasn't materialized in any sense of the word. I'm really hoping, and everything's on Dabo, right? I'm really hoping this offseason, after the season, they let Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator we paid a shitload of money to go get, just go work with him. Like, just do their thing and let them run the offense. Because Dabo kept saying, Garrett Riley's got to learn the Clemson way to play and all this nonsense. We've seen that not work. Let him go off to the side. We have a couple receivers returning that I'm really, really excited on. We have Antonio Williams coming back, and we have Tyler Brown, who's going to be a sophomore. We got a 5-star, I think it's Brian something. I don't know his name. He was like the number 2 receiver in the class. So I think we're going to have weapons at receiver. Phil Maffa returning at running back. Huge for our offense.
You mean Will Maffa? Is it Phil?
Pretty sure it's Phil
Will
Maffa.
Shipley.
Oh, I thought you said.
Phil Maffa.
Oh wow. Wow.
But
Surprising.
I thought it was Will.
no, it's Will Shipley.
Will Shipley.
He's going to the draft.
Will
He's not going to
Shipley.
get
That's what
drafted.
Ryan
now.
said.
Will Shipley. Will
And
Shipley.
then we have a couple players returning on our defense that I'm really excited about. Barrett Carter's probably going to be the number 1 linebacker in the country next year. He was really highly rated. Him and Jeremiah Trotter were like 1 and 2 in their class. Then Trotter went to the draft. Barrett Carter came back. So I just think we have the talent to do it. If we don't, then obviously there's a systematic issue. But we look at the rest of this conference. It's not that strong. So you've got to go Clemson at the 1. And at the 2, I'm going Miami. I think Miami makes the run with Cam Ward. I don't love Florida State. I know Florida State's going to be the team that everyone, consensus should pick. But I'm kind of going on a ledge here. I think it's Clemson, Miami, and Clemson wins.
Do not let me be rest of DGen be the only person who chooses Florida State again, please. Please don't do it again.
You're going Florida State?
Florida State back to back. It's gonna happen again. I mean, their defense is still very good. DJ is gonna be a game manager that takes them far. I don't see them losing more than 1 game this year, personally, and they'll still make it as a 2 seed even if Clemson happens to have a crazy year, goes undefeated. Even a 2-loss Florida State in the ACC.
We're definitely not going undefeated, by the way. We played Georgia week 1.
No, I'm
In
saying,
the ACC.
I'm saying in some universe if they get the 2 seed.
Okay,
So
yeah,
maybe if Clemson loses 1 game.
Yeah.
Even if Florida State loses 2 games, I still think they'll make the 2 seed.
Yeah.
And I think they're still a better team
Probably.
than Clemson. From what I've seen from Clemson, I'm just not on board. I tried to pick my spots last year with them. It works sometimes, but just it's not enough consistency for me. Florida State, I know what I'm getting. A lockdown defense with an offense that was just bad. Hopefully DJ comes in and makes them mediocre.
That's the
at
one
best.
reason I can't do it is because DJ. I don't think he can lead a team. I haven't seen him go all the way with a
Oregon
team.
State did pretty well, though,
But no,
yes,
but I
last
think
year.
they'll do exactly what Oregon State did. 3 losses.
Did pretty well.
3 losses and
I
not
mean,
make the conference.
so
championship.
1 less loss and they can make the conference championship.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
like
sure, that's
Florida
very
State
fair.
will be in the mix.
'Cause
Like
Oregon
they'll
State-
be up there, but I think they'll fall short at the end when DJ can't get them the wins they need. That's all I'm saying.
Very,
Yeah.
very possible. I just think Florida State's defense is good enough and they'll be able to hold. So I just think Florida State back to back, pretty easy.
Yep.
For me personally.
Who do they play in that game?
I'm not going to get away from Clemson. The ACC is so bad, but I have a couple things to say about SMU before the end of the episode.
All right.
I'll get it for you.
All right, Tate.
I mean, I'll say a couple things about SMU.
They won in the conference.
They might win the conference.
Oh my god.
I mean, I'm the biggest SMU fan, but
Listen to this schedule. Houston Christian,
lost.
BYU. Wait.
Kidding, go.
Houston Christian, BYU, TCU. Okay, Florida State, hard game. Louisville, Stanford, Duke, Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, Cal.
It's my Mustangs, my
Dude, that's not a schedule. There's like 1 loss, and they can beat
What
Florida
was the
State.
back-to-back Florida State Louisville? I think they probably
Yeah.
Yeah.
lost there.
It is at Louisville.
They're
Florida
gonna
State
lose.
at
They'll
home.
lose both those games, but
When they
Okay,
play
but,
Boston
like-
College, is it the red bandana game?
yeah, that's important to note.
Okay, but
But no, that is a pretty easy schedule. Yeah.
But like such an easy schedule. The value on SMU is crazy. Plus, not to mention Preston Stone got hurt the last couple games. He
Yeah.
didn't play the last couple games last year. That kid is good. He's a very good quarterback. If he comes back and plays well, I mean, Rhett Lashley put together a very decent, and when I mean very decent, it's weird. They're not like great, but they could be. I don't know. We haven't seen him play in a
Very okay.
decent defense. Okay, I think SMU is a very underrated defense. I think Preston Stone's a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
We saw Rasheed Rice eat in that
Well, you
offense
guys
a
know
couple
their
years
offense.
ago.
No, yeah, we know, yeah.
So you're saying they go into the conference and win it.
I love it.
Who did
Wow.
they beat?
Who do they
I love
play?
it.
Who do they
Wow.
play?
Florida State.
Wow. So we don't even make
Wow.
the top 2.
No back to back.
I'm not riding the Clemson train this year.
Yeah, if I was
I'm
Michael,
off of
I'd
it.
be saying, "Why do you hate me? Like you ruined
Yeah.
my life." Are you riding with your boy and me with Clemson?
Are you riding, Tyler?
we go to the Natty or not the Natty to win
Do
the,
I?
win the, win
Would
the
I? Would
championship?
I?
No, this is actually a little bit of a boring take. But I actually think it's just going to be a rematch of last year, so between FSU and Louisville.
Wow.
Um,
Not
I
boring at all. That's a
Pre-
lot.
Hot take.
That's
well,
all right. like
definitely Ryan, you're not the only person alone. I think FSU is going to win that ACC, and I don't really necessarily think it'll be close. I think they're kind of by and large the best team in that conference. And the only reason why I like Louisville at number 2 is, I mean, SMU made a big story because they were so irrelevant and they became somewhat relevant. So, like, it was just fun to bet with them and stuff like that. When it comes to Clemson, actually, Tyler kind of reinforced my views on that in that they're the biggest losers of the transfer portal because Dabo's refusal to participate in it. I think the unwillingness to adapt to what's happening and the change of football is going to be a giant hindrance. And to be honest, I think they'd be lucky to be like top 4 in the ACC.
That's
So
a
they don't make
take.
the playoffs for sure. Like a 1,000% don't make the playoffs. Because now top 4, there's no chance they
There's
can
no
make the
chance
playoffs.
they make the playoffs.
Dude, Mike, what did I just say?
No, that's electric. What do you
No, I
mean?
love that.
They didn't.
I
They
love
didn't make
that.
it last year. What were they? What did they
No,
finish
that's
ranked?
actually not that crazy.
What did Clemson finish last year?
Not that crazy.
The rank.
Like,
If you think SMU and Miami will be
14.
good,
Clemson finished 14.
Or
If
something
what happened
like that. I
last
mean,
year
we lost-
happens again.
we lost
it's not
4
that
games.
crazy. Not
Bad.
that crazy.
Wait.
Are they going to be ranked in the top 25?
Hold on.
Yeah,
Last year they
sure.
ranked 14.
They're gonna be 25th. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they'll be
14's out.
they'll be on the bottom.
I know you like
Parts
I
of
know
that
you like
top
live.
25.
No. Taylor, hold on. I know you like live betting on the show.
Oh God.
So I would.
Oh God.
I would love to bet as much money as you humanly want on an even money bet that we make the college football playoffs. You said there's no chance and we're not top 4 in our conference.
money.
I say we make the playoffs.
Just the playoffs,
So
Mike.
we're
You have to fade.
a top 7 team that doesn't win their conference, or we win the conference, which you said there's a 0% chance.
No
of
way,
doing.
because you could make it in the playoffs by having shit like non-runners up.
No. So it's the 5 conference champions. So
The best-
the
So
only way you get
it's gonna
top
be
5
1 and 2 from each conference.
No,
That's
but all,
8.
no.
just one.
All I'm saying is,
One.
if we don't win the conference, you can't be top 5.
Okay.
It's conference champions and then the next 7 best ranked teams. So probably a lot of SEC teams.
So if a 2 gets in with like 7 wins and lose, they won't be a part of the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
If there's a better team.
Very technically, obviously this won't happen, but like technically 7 through 12 could be filled by one conference then.
Correct.
I'm sorry.
100%.
Correct.
Wow.
As much as you want.
Do it.
250.
Done. Easy.
Down.
Easy.
Holy
So
I love
shit.
that.
Hey,
I
Write
love
that
that.
down.
Mike's
hey,
on fire.
if
on
I
my
lose
bet.
this bet, I'll be happy for Todd.
No, you won't.
I will be very
you
happy
won't.
for Todd.
You
Sorry, dude. I'm
No.
I'm
Clemson-
happy.
No.
I'm happy, and everyone else is.
No,
happy.
it's
Clemson
no.
not making the playoffs.
No,
I'm
it's
not trying to
business.
make an enemy.
It's
no.
all business. Well,
What were you not trying to do?
I'm not trying to make an enemy. No,
said we're
no.
not-
Like
I'm
standing
not
on
enemy number
business.
one. No, I'm not trying to make an enemy.
Like stand
I'm
on
just.
business.
Mike's
You
making a lot of
said it
enemies
yourself.
in the
You
show.
said it
Mike,
yourself.
after
Enemy of the state.
all I've done to support Texas, and after all you say about Ryan shitting on your team,
I'm a Clemson
and how,
fan.
dude. This is making it so much worse.
I'm a
After
Clemson
all-
fan.
After all
He's a
you
big
do,
Clemson fan.
all
He's
you
a
He's a
talk
tiger
about,
at heart.
all you're saying all year is how no one rides with you, how you always ride with your boys. You would never do this. You
He
get
prefaced this,
You
I'm
get
gonna ride with Mike.
and then
upset.
made a bet.
And then say there's
and the bet
no
against-
shot we finish in the conference championship.
Top
We're gonna
4?
finish outside the top 4 in our conference and not make.
Well,
Todd,
not
it's
making the
not-
playoffs.
I'm not
No.
trying to go against you with that, though.
Of course
Okay?
not. Of course not. Of course not.
Wait.
No.
First bet of the
I'm
college
taking it
football
off of-
season.
Question about the bet. What
Sure.
happens if you finish in the top 4 but miss the playoffs? Mike still wins the bet.
It's
right?
just a
Yeah,
playoff bet.
it's just
okay.
a playoff.
Okay.
Correct.
Cool, okay.
No, Mike.
I love that bet.
Every
First bet of the college
every
football
college
season.
football episode from here until the end of next season, we are on opposite sides of the fence.
No. No, we are not.
Manny.
Look,
Opposite sides.
Line in the sand moment
Like
right
I said,
there.
I'm
He's
a
on the
fan
other
of
side.
Clemson. I'm a Clemson guy. You know,
Big
like
Clemson guy.
I'm
He's a
pretty
big
much a
Clemson guy.
Clemson guy.
He's pretty
right?
much a Clemson guy.
But you are the one to say how miserable it is having Tebow as your coach.
Who?
Debo Samuel.
Debo
no,
Samuel.
Dabo.
No, Tim Tebow.
No, I
Tim
say it's
Tebow.
miserable that we don't use the transfer portal. It
Yes.
doesn't mean we still don't have 5 stars all over the field, and our returning players are very good. So
Mike made a great point. They finished last year 14.
Maybe
If they
not
do it
much of a
again this
difference
year,
in the end.
yeah.
No, I love the bet.
No, okay, so
Ryder Mike.
I'm
Big
on
rider.
your side.
He's
though.
on your
You're on my
side.
side.
I'm on your side.
Mario,
He's a
Yeah.
rider.
Let's get him a
Mario,
jersey.
how do you feel?
Allies.
Yeah, I got Florida State winning this conference.
Dang.
No surprise. I think almost everyone did. Yeah, number 2. It was a toss-up for me between SMU and Miami. I just feel like I
A dog sub.
I said Clemson.
Wait.
Nice.
You said Clemson. I don't know enough about SMU.
Smoo.
Team's
So-
over. That's all you know.
So what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna give it to Miami because I just think Cam Ward's gonna fit. I think he just fits that
Yeah,
city.
he fits well.
He fits that school. So yeah,
Columbia.
Florida State, Miami, and then it's gonna be between Clemson, SMU. I'll give it to Clemson because I'm a rider. You know, got Got to give it to Tyler.
Clemson finishes 3 seed.
Yeah, 3 seed.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But close.
Now I'll
It's
remember.
close.
I'll remember these takes. I'm so excited we're talking about college football. I'll definitely lock this in the back of my brain.
Yeah.
Us
Put
against
this
the
on the
world.
back burner. And
Yeah. All right. Last conference, Big 12 had some brutal shakeups.
Oh,
I mean,
I love it.
the strength of this conference has changed drastically. So let me read you the teams in the Big 12 because it looks a whole lot different than it did last year. Arizona, Arizona State, Baylor, BYU, Cincinnati, Colorado, Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, UCF, Utah, West Virginia.
Juggernaut of a conference.
I mean, that is.
That's-
They just threw a bunch of shit together.
That's a conference.
That's all
Pick
over
it
the
up.
place.
That's a
Kicking
conference.
rocks left and right.
So yeah, Tate, I'm gonna start this with you. How do you feel this conference is gonna look like strength-wise next year? Who do you think is gonna win it? Who's gonna be in the conference championship?
I mean, Utah. Kyle Whittingham is just going to put a masterclass against
Yeah.
this Big 12 conference. I mean, it's just. I don't think it's even going to be close.
Whittingham Masterclass.
Yep. Whittingham masterclass. I love Kyle Whittingham. I think he's a great coach. He's put together a fantastic squad. A lot of years in Utah. I just don't see it any other way. And I'm just gonna ride Utah here.
Okay.
Nothing but Utah.
Nothing but Utah.
It just doesn't matter who they play.
No, I literally
Yeah.
don't care.
Okay.
I couldn't agree more that the team in Big 12 from the Pac-12 is going to win with Arizona.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now,
I love
this
Arizona
guy
too.
Noah Fafita
No,
is
it's different.
special.
Yeah, he's insane.
Special.
And the
don't-
receiver,
don't get
too.
me started
And not
on
Their
short
receiver
bus
is
special.
great.
McMillan?
We don't. That community we've done.
No,
it.
no, no, no,
Whoa,
no,
whoa,
no
whoa,
short bus.
whoa,
The
no.
biggest
Right.
bus you could find. McMillan, that Fafita McMillan connection
All day, every day.
will be just Heisman everywhere. Everywhere you look, their name will be in the
Left,
Heisman conversation.
right,
Yes.
up,
They are
down.
such a good connection. They scored like crazy last year. It was their first. I mean, the guy was a freshman putting up crazy numbers. He played in 9 games, had almost 3,000 yards and 25 touchdowns.
He's
Only 9
ridiculous.
games. I mean,
That's
the
not
guy's
bad.
the guy's
Not
going to
bad.
go ballistic this year.
Yeah.
He has no reason not to. The offense is almost the same. They just lost their head coach. I don't think it's that big of a deal. He's a freshman anyways. Wasn't that big of a connection. I think he goes crazy. Arizona's 1. I do like Utah's 2. They're too stingy on defense to not be up there. So I think Utah gets 2. But Arizona's. I mean, they're gonna be talking about this kid Noah Fafita, and they're gonna be like, "Holy shit, this is it!"
Yeah.
Like this, he's special. He was special last year against every team that was good in the Pac-12. Washington, Oregon, US. He competed against all of them and beat some of them.
I love
He's so
the
good.
idea of the Pac-12 teams just coming in and just saying, "Yeah, Big 12, get out of here."
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. So I like Arizona.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I like Fafita. He's currently still there. It will be interesting, in my opinion, to see if he stays
He
there.
ain't leaving.
I don't think he actually plays for Arizona next
I
year.
am leaving.
He's a big partier.
We'll see. We'll see what he does. I can't get away from Kansas State, and I also can't get away from Utah. I like Kansas State and Utah. I don't think either of them are going to be very relevant, but Kansas State's always in the mix for the Big 12.
Lost a lot of players.
Yeah, they lost a lot of players, but they're just always in the mix. They have good coaches. And then, I mean, Utah, definitely the highest ranked, the best team, best program
Yeah.
in there. One team I'm going to throw out an honorable mention is Colorado.
Go Buffs.
Yeah. So I know
I hate
I
you,
don't like
Dion.
Colorado. I don't like Colorado.
Hate you, Dion.
But when you're just talking talent
Should do
on
it.
a team, Travis Hunter's
Is it
returning,
too
right?
early? Is
Hey,
it too early?
yeah.
congrats on the
He's
marriage.
No, you can come back.
Congrats
Travis
on the
Hunter's coming
marriage.
back. Shadur Sanders
give
is
him a
going to be
Shador.
one of the top
Give him a Shador.
quarterbacks in the class.
Give him one shot.
Then you have, I think Dion just went out and got a bunch of transfers.
He did go
Yeah.
down
Like
there.
a bunch of transfers. So,
But it's just
good. I'm not on Colorado. I bet against them all the time last season. But this competition in this group isn't very difficult. Last year, we're like, just wait till they play the Oregons.
You could
wait
see
till they play
random
They don't
team,
have
yeah.
these teams anymore. There's there's no Washington on their schedule. There's no Oregon on their schedule. Yeah, there's an Arizona Wildcats. Didn't they beat Arizona last year? Or they played and they lost by 3 or
probably played
something?
them well.
I don't know. Whatever it was. Colorado, for me, is a team that has the talent to do something if they ended up bolstering the offensive and defensive line. Because they definitely, besides Fafita, Shadur Sanders is going to be one of the highest ranked, if not the highest rated quarterback in that class. The best player in the conference is going to be Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
He's going to be the best. So
Give me no.
they have this. They have the players to do it. I don't know if they will, but that's my watch it out for him take.
So Big 12 winner, I'm gonna go with Arizona. Like Ryan said, I'm a big fan of
Bear
Fafita
down.
and McMillan as well. For the kind of like 2 spot, I'm actually pretty stuck. As Tyler and Tate said, Utah is in that contention. But a sneaky one that hasn't been talked about is Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State made it to a championship last year, got absolutely murdered by Texas because we rolled over them like a bulldozer.
Yeah.
But Grant, if you've watched
Did they
long
get
enough,
all of
you know that I'm a bit
do.
exactly. And I'm a big fan of explosive running backs in college. Big fan of Bolly Gordon II, and he's coming back. So that is literally the only
that.
reason why I like Oklahoma State here, but I think Arizona's going to win it, and it's between Utah and Oklahoma
Have
State.
we ever
for
seen a
number two.
conference this wide open? I mean,
Dude, I think it's
There's
going to be an electric.
so many teams that could win this
Oklahoma
conference.
State
I mean, define
coach retired.
Gundy?
Did he?
I think so. I'm not sure. I remember they were talking about him in the offseason. I don't know. He's kind of an older guy.
Possibly.
Go ahead.
Maybe he'll die.
Let us know.
Jeez.
Big 12. Is it Buffalo? Or the Buffs? Is it Colorado?
Why do you assume Colorado?
Because you love Colorado.
I
So
mean, I
Buff-
only bet them every week.
Yeah.
So not
no,
in total. You're
no,
more of a week-to-week guy.
No. If Fafita and McMillan are at Arizona, it's Arizona Fafita. I'm gonna Fafita on his Fafita. It's
do I?
absolutely Fafita. I'm obsessed.
I'm obsessed.
He's insane. You take Arizona, number 1, winning. Number 2, like Mike, I was a little bit stuck. Like, yeah, I saw Utah, but they just don't really do it for me, you know? They're all right. Utah, I feel like every year, Utah, you just know they're
You know what
just,
you're getting,
You,
you know?
you know
Yeah.
what you're getting. You're
I
kind of
agree with
like,
that.
you're kind of like, oh, they, will be half relevant for the first half, and then they just kind of like aren't good.
Yeah.
And they just start losing.
They love to lose.
Dude, just weird gut feeling. All right, I know Colorado will probably be up there. They're my honorable mention, number 3.
That was my honorable mention.
number 2 though.
Oh, say it.
Weird take, just because they got a little QB transfer. Gut feel, I just think UCF
I was going to say.
pull
KJ
something out.
KJ.
You just love the KJ Jefferson.
No, I hate KJ Jefferson. He's terrible.
The LSU
never-
killer, isn't he?
No, he saved our over actually, but
Yeah.
because he couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards, and then all of a sudden in the second half, just started slinging that thing.
Yeah.
slinging
He
that
tends
canal.
to do that
you know?
from
Yeah,
time
yeah.
to time.
Swinging around, you know what I mean?
No.
Shout out Theo.
Shout out Theo. No, but yeah, UCF. Say what you will, like you good over there? Big UCF guy.
Yeah, huge.
No, I mean they're like fake national championship, but they're always like a competitive school. They really love their football. I think give them a good QB. This conference is wide open, dude.
Wide open.
Anyone could take it. So just give me the experience in KJ Jefferson. Just making something happen.
I like that. This quickly went from actually my least favorite conference to my favorite conference the more we talk about
I
it.
think it's
Like
much
there's no like real juggernauts.
No.
But I mean, when you talk college football, week in and week out,
Yeah.
these are gonna be high overs. These are gonna be high point totals.
Oh my God.
You're gonna get a lot of
It's
just
gonna be an
random shit
electric
going on.
race
Yeah.
for 1 and 2.
I know, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But all right, now that we talked the conferences, I mean, that was pretty in depth. This is as in depth as you're gonna get.
Maybe comment down below if you want to hear in depth of the other conferences.
Oh God. The
Mountain West, baby.
Might be a fourth
Mountain West.
The Tulanes.
DJ after hours.
Yeah, DJ.
The All-American.
No.
2 hours after.
All right, I got a couple more things. I want us to talk some early Heisman, early championship,
Really
and early
early Heisman.
long shots to make the playoffs. So without further ado, let's get into those conversations. Way too early
Really
Heisman
early.
talk. All right,
Really early.
Not early enough.
you can give me 1, you give me 2, you can give me 5.
I might give you
I don't
10.
care. You give me 10 players that could win the Heisman. And like early season projections, say whatever the hell you want. I don't care. We're projecting out, whatever, 6-7 months in the future. So tell me whatever it is you got. Tate, I'm starting with you. Give me some juice.
All right, I think I really like the juice. I think I forget who talked about it earlier. I think it might have been Tyler. Ole Miss and Jackson Dart. I think
Plus
Oh my
1,800.
God.
yeah, like a
love Jackson Dart.
a really interesting. He's been in college football for a million years now. He's done
This is
his
his third year?
rounds. Is it?
I
Can't
feel like
be.
it's only been like 3 years. Or 4 years.
I want to say
I
it
think he's a
might be his
fourth year.
fourth because I think he did he sit a year at USC and then
Then started a year.
started.
and then transferred to.
Yeah, I
Ole
think
Miss.
it's his fourth year, but we'd have to double check. It's third or fourth. for
Okay,
sure.
anyway. Okay, Jackson Dart on Ole Miss, and then my super sneaky sprinkle, which I mean maybe it's not that sneaky, I don't know, but I absolutely love it, is Luther Burden III, and Missouri.
Wow, what are even the odds of that?
That's
you
my-
should do Brady Cook.
As
instead
much, yeah, I
of
was gonna
Luther.
say that's what I
Makes
do.
more sense
I
for
love
the
I love
kid.
Luther Bird more than anyone.
Plus
but-
10,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say since it's like it's like MVP in the NFL, could be a quarterback like Brady Cook or Luther Burden. I love the Missouri Tigers. I mean, winning like
Brady
the possibility
Cook
of winning
plus
the
3,000.
SEC, the possibility of winning the SEC, you could. I mean, that's gonna boost your Heisman odds by a ton. So if that team if they just roll through the SEC with that schedule,
Yeah.
I mean, you could see a Luther Burden or Brady Cook at super high odds.
I like it. That's a lot of juice. Ryan, tell us who you're looking at.
Yeah, Brady Cook, obviously, I already told you Missouri's going to roll him with the SEC. Play at plus 3,000 would be value. Obviously, Fafita, plus 2,000. I mean, he's a freak. As a freshman, he was doing crazy things with, like, he's going to learn that offense. He's going to get into it. I assume he's going to stay in Arizona. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's talks. But I assume he's going to have one of the best wide receivers in the country. He's going to have a great offensive line and ball out free. Obviously, rolling my guy, Will Howard. It's just smart to bet one of the top. If you like one of the top 3 teams to win, bet their quarterback. If you like Georgia, Carson Beck, it's the way it works. If you like them, they're going to have to do it with the quarterback behind the helm. They're probably going to win. And then my favorite player that nobody ever talks about is these guys, Tennessee Volunteers, Nico Amaliva.
I don't know if that's how you say his name.
He's gonna leave her.
No, Amaliva.
Yeah, Amaliva?
Illuminana.
No, Nico Amaliva. You know,
I'm a believer.
I'm a believer in
gonna
Nico
leave her.
Amaliva.
Yeah.
But regardless, he was plus 2. I saw him at plus 2,000, plus 2,500, whatever the odds were. People have no idea who this guy is. He sat out of the year.
Nico's a beast.
He was the number 2 recruit, 5-star recruit behind Arch Manning. Absolute stud. Wasn't that far behind him. It's just the name Arch Manning, GOAT. Yeah. But I just think I'm telling you, this guy can throw and run like crazy. He played in the bowl game last year, had 4 touchdowns in that game, beat Iowa by 30. I know Iowa's on precedent, but Tennessee wasn't that good either. So I think he's going to really ball. And if he has kind of like that Hendon Hooker season before he got hurt and everyone had him so high and he just throws like crazy on this Tennessee team,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be crazy. I love him. He's the new, just remember that name, Nico Amaliva. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
I'm
even know
gonna
that's how you
leave her.
Nico
pronounce that.
Amaliva.
Nico, I'm gonna leave her.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of players I think are pretty interesting on this list. But one prediction I want to make is that neither Quinn nor Carson Beck, who are the top 2, are going to be close to the Heisman running.
Love that. Love that.
I think both teams will be very good.
Maybe
Beck,
back.
yeah.
Maybe back.
Well, no. I think
Whatever.
the
Just
teams
off
will be.
wins, just
I think
off
they'll be
wins.
very good.
Whatever.
Okay, by close, I mean like have a realistic shot to win. Maybe like he
They'll
can
be
do
at, like,
he can
5
do
all
what
year.
Stenson Bennett did and be like a Heisman finalist, be a top 4.
Yeah.
Just when they were undefeated. But I'm talking legitimately like Heisman front runner in the season. I don't
Yeah.
think either of them can. But I'm gonna give you a couple bets that I really like. So. Jackson Dart plus 1,800, I really like. I said I think Ole Miss is gonna have a good season. I could see him putting up some crazy numbers, especially in the SEC. That's gonna be even more impressive. These two, I really like Cam Ward. I've said it enough times. He's plus 2,000. I think he can put up some like silly numbers because we've seen his ability to do that in a not so difficult ACC. If they make it to an ACC championship, are in the mix for the playoffs, because the Heisman will get decided now. 1 week earlier at the start of the playoffs, right? So they have a good 1-loss season, barely lose in the championship game. He can still be in that mix. And lastly, and this is not me hopping on the bandwagon, but it's going to be Shadur Sanders at plus 4,000.
Ooh.
And let me tell you why.
Jesus
Strictly for one reason.
No, that's a great.
Because last season, at one point, he was the Heisman favorite.
No, they'll do anything
Yes.
they can.
After the second
No, but that
The media will do anything they can.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They
that's true.
love him so much, and we just talked about that conference being wide open. It can be anyone. Why not the person on the most popular coach's son, on a team that ESPN is clearly pushing, and has already been pushed a year where no one in their right minds thought that he should be the Heisman.
When they were like
they
3-0,
pushed him to
yeah,
the
4-0,
actual
yeah.
betting favorite. He's the only one on this list who's ever been a betting favorite for Heisman at one point.
Yeah.
So, and you're getting him at 40-1. So, I mean, that's just that's a bet you've got to put $100 on preseason to win 4,000, and maybe ESPN pushes the narrative again. Who knows? Maybe they close the season in an easier conference. Those are my picks.
I have 2 pretty boring ones. The first one, I'm gonna believe in Quinn. Obviously, plus 175. Very, very.
750.
He's not even going to be the
750.
quarterback end of the season.
Oh, holy smokes! Wow, my eyes.
If you were gonna bet that at plus 175,
No, my eye.
If you like Texas, you
No,
should
I,
bet
literally,
Arch
I
Manning.
looked over and I literally just misread it so
it's plus
badly.
750.
Yeah, what's Arch
Yeah,
Manning?
okay,
Yeah,
plus
what's Arch
750.
the favorite. Yeah,
What's
but-
Arch Manning at?
I'll find it.
Yeah, if you want to bet the Texas QB.
I don't know. Anyways, I think.
It's not-
I mean, I honestly believe that Texas has a very solid chance to win the actual Natty. Similar to what Ryan was saying, if you think a team is going to go like pretty far or do really well, it's not a bad idea to take their quarterback. That's pretty much the exact same line of reasoning that I'm going to go with that. Like I said, I believe. And then next is another pretty boring one, but I've been talking them up the whole day. Is Dylan Gabriel and Oregon? I think Oregon can make it pretty far as well,
Plus
and I think
1,000.
Dylan Gabriel, especially getting Evan Stewart and like I don't know, I think just as a whole team, they can really make a good push and similar to same line of
Okay.
thinking if they can go far, might
So
as well bet on the
you're a
quarterback.
fan.
Johnson.
You're a fan of the favorites on the betting list. You like the number 1,
Yeah.
number 3. All right, gotcha.
Arch Manning plus 12,500.
I'm not surprised.
I'm putting
Oh my
50
God,
bucks on that.
125 to 1. Why not?
Mario, who do you like?
You guys have already named the people that I like. I like Will Howard just because I think he's a guy who's going to be on a team that's going to be undefeated, and he's going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's just a recipe for success, kind of like similar to like LSU that one season. Like
Yeah.
Burrow's going to Burrow had like the best passing stats on the best team. I think
Yeah, you got all
Howard
the
can
options
have
in the world. Yeah.
Howard can have a similar season. So I like him at it was plus 1,000 to 1,500 depending on
Whatever you get.
whatever you're getting.
Yeah, I'm seeing him plus 1,000 right now.
Yeah, and then I like Fafita at plus 2,000 just because, again, I like the quarterbacks that are going to pass a lot. I mean, they give you the best chance at winning the Heisman. And then a couple other shout outs. I love the Shador Sanders
Shador.
plus 4,000. It just that when you said that made so much sense because literally that team was like 3 or 4-0, I forget, and he was the betting favorite.
He was the favorite in Vegas, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
so
And-
imagine if they go and have a chance to win.
That's
the
my
Big
point
12.
exactly.
Imagine
They're
they have
pushing it.
him so
like
much.
a defensive line and an offensive line and like
He's on your hate list, right?
Oh, dude, he's up there. He's
Okay.
near the top.
All right, Shador adding.
Mario,
yeah.
continue.
And then I guess I wasn't thinking about Brady Cook, but that makes sense because I do really like that Missouri team.
Oh yeah. Baby.
And I think
Yeah.
they can do some big things and make some movement in the
Plus
SEC.
3,000.
So plus 3,000, because Tate likes Luther Burden. For me, it's hard to give it to the wide receiver over the quarterback, unless Luther Burden's having the best wide receiver statistical season ever witnessed.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
So
probably not
it's
gonna
So I would say Brady Cook.
Okay,
Sure.
I love it. And yeah, now that I've talked about Heisman, last thing I wanted to touch on, now it's a 12-team playoff,
happen.
right?
Gross.
We already talked, we said it's the conference champions, the group of 5 best conference champion, and then it's the 7 next best ranked teams. So, love it or hate it, it's the way it is now, right? It kind of decreases the importance of some regular season games, and it opens the door for some crazy teams to get in.
door.
For some
Opens
for
the
some crazy
door.
teams
God,
to get
no.
in. Like, you can see an 11 seed getting in the college football playoffs and getting a chance, to mix it up with
That's crazy.
whoever,
Yeah.
who didn't even win their conference. So my question to you guys is, who is your best long shot to make the college football playoff and maybe make a run at it? Could win a game, could get in, could win a game, could shake things up. Maybe a school that had never had a chance before. It could be a Big 12. It could even be the conference champion of the Big 12. You could say Arizona. Maybe they get the 4 seed. They're a home game. Because the way the playoffs work now, your first game, if top 4 seeds get a bye,
Yep.
and then it's a home game. Yeah, like a home game.
Yeah.
And then you move to a bowl game and then whatever, championship. So I just want to hear who you guys think. It could be a crazy long shot. It could not even be that crazy. Just like your pick that no one's talking about that could make a run at it. Mario.
I mentioned them once earlier.
Yes.
Boise State.
Yes. I love it.
Oh my god!
crazy.
You better bet
They're
that.
crazy.
You better bet that. 'cause
I
you're gonna
will for
get
sure bet.
400,000 to 1.
You like them to make the playoffs and, maybe go for it.
Yeah, maybe mix it up, play like a weaker team, maybe win a game.
If you think they can win the the college football playoff,
Win the college football.
I'm just saying if they can win it all, it's plus 50,000.
500 to 1.
$1 or $100 to win 50 G's.
Oh my god.
That's all I'm
Sprinkle,
saying.
Sprinkle,
That's all I'm
thanks.
saying.
And you parlay that with him winning the Heisman.
Oh my god.
Nelson.
Just seeing the
You're
board.
actually-
I'll straight bet each one.
Yeah.
That way, if one hits, you know.
But Boise, I like it. That's a
Boise
good pick.
State, no one's talking about them.
Literally no one. You're the only one.
I'm the
You're
only
so
one.
sharp, it's actually ridiculous.
I'm seeing a different board than most people.
Their odds are better than UCLA. That's all
So
I'll say.
yeah, I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna be sprinkling on Malachi.
Come on, bro.
Can't be throwing
Why am I
strays at
catching-
UCLA.
why am I
over
catching
here.
strays
They're
out
right
here?
below him, man. Look at the.
How you doing?
But no, I like that pick. Mike, what's your go-to? What's your team here?
My super long shot, I was actually talked into it like 20 minutes ago. I don't even have them winning their conference championship, but SMU. SMU is going to be my long shot to
Wow.
make a serious run at it.
And do you think that's because of the conference champion, or do you think they'll be in the next 7 highest ranked teams?
Next 7 highest ranked
Wow.
teams, and then based off that, I think they can make
See,
a
that's
push.
the one reason I like SMU, but that's the reason I don't think they can make it unless they win the conference championship. Because I think it would be very, very hard to rank SMU objectively, especially when all these SEC teams are beating up on each other, like, and gonna have really impressive strength of schedules, like to get them in that mix. Maybe they
But
lose.
SMU can make it, like, they can technically not make it to the ACC championship and only have a loss. Right? So if Florida State goes undefeated,
That's very
Louisville has won, right? And then technically, like, they get beaten out based off who they played. Then it's like they don't make it into a championship game, but they still have a shit ton of points.
That would be
for-
if a one-loss ACC team not making it to their championship would be interesting. It could happen, right? If there's an undefeated not.
Very specific scenario.
That is a very specific.
That'd be
scenario.
3 ACC teams making the playoffs, which I'm not sure can happen. I honestly think the only teams who will make it to the playoffs in the ACC are the ones who play.
Yeah.
In that, because I just think you have such, I mean, the concentration in these conferences is nuts with the SEC. I mean, if you look at the championship odds at the top, it's SEC as 1, 3, 5, 6, 8. 1, 3, 5, 6, 8. So 1, 3, 5, 6, 8. 5 of the top 8 are supposed to be SEC teams. So if you're thinking like SEC might have 5 teams in there, plus you have the 4 other champions, that's 9. I mean, the Big Ten, you've got to take Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Is 10 or something, and then 1 or 2 maybe from ACC
what
Big
you're
12.
saying.
I don't
You know
know.
what I mean?
See what
Yeah,
you're saying.
I think it's gonna be tough. Okay, you're going SMU.
Yeah.
All right.
My
Yeah.
long shot.
All right. I've kind of talked about these teams already, so I don't know how interesting this is going to be. But my biggest long shot is USC.
I like that.
To make it to
I
the
love
playoffs.
that. Miller Moss for Heisman.
Yeah. I want to go Miami and all that. But I've already kind of said I think like it's already a long shot when I'm going with Cam Ward and them.
Yeah.
Unless they win the conference, I think it'd be tough for Miami to get there. But I think USC has a path to get there. I think they're in a much better conference. That's why I don't really think you'll see too many extra teams from the ACC or the Big 12. I think it's gonna be very heavy SEC Big 10. You might see like 5 teams and 4 teams or something, and there's like no one else besides the other conference champions. And I think USC can be like they're the 3 seed in the Big 10. I don't know.
I will lose my.
I think it could happen. So give me USC as my long shot.
Yeah, I'm just
Love
gonna.
that.
I'm gonna.
Seed over Michigan.
I'm gonna stay locked in. I'm gonna stay locked in with these picks. Ohio State's gonna win it all next year. I think they're very good. They're very talented. But the team they'll play, maybe it depends on the rankings. Maybe in the first round, if not the championship, will be the Missouri Tigers. That's I'm calling it a long shot because of how deep I'm making them go.
Yeah.
I think they'll be a Final Four team. If not, if they don't play Ohio State, they will be in the championship. I'm telling you, I saw this team play every game last year.
They're good.
They played the SEC, which in my opinion, the toughest conference, unbelievably well all year, and they finished this year as a top 10 team.
Yep.
Everything got better. They returned everyone. All their players are freshmen, so now they have a year under the belt. All the same head coaches, better defense, better transfer portal.
Underrated last year, and they were
Yeah,
one of the
yeah, they
top
were.
teams in the nation defensively with getting
That's what I'm saying.
sacks.
And they just got Clemson's 5-star. They got another 5-star, I think, from Bama. This team is going to be very good. It's my sneaky pick all the way.
Interesting
Dude,
note.
Ryan's about to
Same odds as Clemson to win the championship, plus 3,000.
No, it's just beautiful.
Ryan's about to literally go all in on the over win total.
Oh, Missouri?
Like all
Feels
in.
like a good bet to
sure.
me.
No, 100%.
Tate, end us out here. Who is your long shot that's going to make the playoffs?
By the way, I was going to do SMU. That's just too sharp, but I couldn't. It's team total over. Best team in the world.
Bang.
Yeah, there's a couple. My long shot
Long Johnson.
UCLA.
Okay. All right.
I get a bet
I
at
could have said
every
Fresno
year.
State.
Could have said
No,
Tulane.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Signing out.
Like,
No.
comments.
All right.
Ding, ding, ding.
No, but for real, I kind of like Jackson Arnold in Oklahoma.
Actually, not a terrible player.
That's not
no
a
one's
terrible
talked
Nobody,
about
yep,
it. It's a great
no,
pick.
no one's
We didn't
talking-
mention Oklahoma.
Their defense is still strapped.
Yep. Nobody's mentioned it one time. They didn't have a lot of losses, and they've been
Plus
Dude,
6,000.
they were one play
Sooner
away
kill
from playing
myself
in
and
the
go
Big 12
Oklahoma.
championship.
exactly,
One play away.
and Jackson Arnold has just been like hyped up, and I mean,
Correct.
if he's good, and we don't know how good he's gonna be, if he's good, that team could roll.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're
SEC, yeah.
they're SEC, so that's tough. But if they manage to put together a year and string together some wins, I mean, I think that is that's fantastic to just get Oklahoma at 60-1.
Yeah, to make a run at it.
They could put together a year, but obviously honorable mentions Missouri, SMU. Love those teams
Wow.
too.
All right, well there you have it. That was a lot of college football for the
It's not even
offseason.
like 5 months away. And we're
I think we're caught up.
Well, wait, let's go another hour.
No, I think we're
This
caught
is
up.
part 1, yeah.
Yeah, part 1 of a 9-part series. We obviously love college football. It was electric. We're always going to be covering college football as things happen through the offseason. We're going to be covering a lot of stuff, though, too. So, Tate, before the people leave the video, tell them what they need to do.
This is your center for all things DGen, college football, NFL football, all the other sports. We're going to be coming at you with a lot more content this summer. So don't leave us yet. Stay with us right here in the studio.
Contento.
Like, comment, subscribe, share us with a friend, leave that notification bell on.
Ding, ding, ding,
We'll see
ding,
you guys
ding,
next
ding,
week.
ding, 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 bang.
Boom.